I saw the video. I saw it on. Here he is making his way. Third place, Mr. Josh Love. Third place in the Link Engine Management Pro 2.
Let's go out there, YouTube, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to. I'm not on Spotify, none of that stuff. Yeah, guys are there. So just bear with me. This is going to be episode. We're in the 80s right now. So I think this is 83, 84. Got my guy Joshua Love right here. Thanks again, Joshua, for joining the podcast. Before I get into it, guys are there. You've been asking about it. That's my heater in the background. It's like right now it's about 20 degrees outside, man. It's cold as hell. So I'm in my box right here with the heater on. All right, so anyway, guys, you've been asking for it. I finally got it right here. I got the Pinku style shirts finally out. It took a little bit to get here. The company makes good products, but it was a little bit of an ass pain with COVID going on and everything. So check out the website for those. Also, for the guys who've been asking, I got the Pinku style, the window banners. So I got those in UV. They're about $40 a piece for shipping. And of course, you guys know this is not paid advertisement. This is the stuff I buy myself or I get done. But I do work with Bridge Moto, so you guys go out there and get Bridge Moto shoes. They're pretty comfortable, pretty nice and everything. So I'm pretty sure, Josh, Bridge Moto, Alan Newsom and all those guys over there and everything.
I need to get on some of those. Those look sweet.
Yeah, man. And then also for the person who drew us these shirts, he's an 18-year-old anime aspiring artist. So he actually does like a lot of drawing as well. So if you guys looking to get some actual drawing from an artist who may be in the future popular, you can get this stuff now, save it, and if she blows up, you can sell it on eBay for how much you want to sell it for and buy those LS swaps out there and everything. So we got that right there. So go ahead, check out the PinkuStyle.com. Pinku Style Store, and check all that stuff out. So anyway, without further ado, I got my guest in again. It's going to be Joshua Love. He was one of the finalists, podium finishers in third place for Formula Drift Pro 2. And again, man, thanks for being on the podcast, man. Before we get into it, man, just go ahead and promote any of your stuff, your sponsors, whatever you want to promote, man, and we'll get into it, man.
Man, we had a bunch of sponsors this year, but really, like, my team, After Hours Autosports from out in Golden, Colorado, that's really like my bread and butter. Those are also my best friends. We came together this year and really mostly did all this, basically from grassroots. Like, This is all just us, like me and four of my best friends, So those are really the only guys I really, got to put it out to.
Gotcha,
and RJ from Big Doug Club.
Gotcha, man. But yeah, man, it was, it was this season, man. It was good because it was like the first time that I actually, I guess, got back into it. I had Alexis King on the last podcast, and I was I was telling him, man, I was like, dude, he was like, hey, what's the last person you remember winning a championship in pro? And I was like, Tanner Faust. And so I was like, I kind of
like 10 years ago.
Yeah, dude. So I'm in Japan. I was so like wrapped up in getting my own stuff and getting my pro license or whatever. And over the last 5 years, I've been running my business. So I was like, man, FD is looking good. The pro season, Pro 2, did good this year. Pro 1 was good, and it was a perfect season for me to get back into it, man. And I'm like fully energized. And again, to be talking to one. I mean, this was your quote unquote rookie season for Pro 2 and everything, man. Even though nobody there is rookie, but it is what it is with all stuff like that. But yeah, man, Just before we get into like the season stuff, man, what got you into this time wasting, tire burning hobby or lifestyle that we do, man? What got you started in drifting, man, in cars?
I guess I got bored burning money in trash cans. So I was like, all right, this is a better way to do it. It's more fun. Yeah. No, actually, I mean, it was kind of random, actually. I was always into cars, and I actually sold all my cars, and I bought a BMW, and for some reason, I mean, not for some reason, but I just got bored of not having a project car again. Right. And I just went online and I found, actually, it's my practice car now, but my first drift car, I still have it. And I didn't even know drifting was a thing, like really back then. I used to be into rally and stuff like that. But I just like found like a local in Colorado. We have Drift Colorado. A good friend of mine, Levi, runs that. And I went out, started going to events. And like, even at that time, I didn't know FD was a thing. Like 5 years ago, I didn't even know what Formula Drift was. So we just did like local stuff, and then we just like I realized after the first year that I was like, this is this is the shit. This is like what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And that, like, what age, like, what age were you when you, like, say you first start, like, your first drift, man? What age can you recall?
I was 25.
25.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit like 25 is that's, I guess most guys
like, it's like the median age for Pro 2 right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like I'm 31, so I'm on the higher end of the spectrum for things, just starting out. But
I mean, but hey, man, like to go. So like, so getting into Pro 2, what was your what series what feeder series did you drive in to earn your Pro 2 license, or how did you get those?
So we were gonna do Vegas Drift Southwest Series, but they actually, so this was last year in 2019, and they, for whatever reason, they couldn't put on a full series.
Right.
So we decided at the beginning of 2019, that's when Brian Eggert started putting on with all the other sanctioning bodies the shootouts.
Okay.
So we just said, well, we were heart set on doing this, on going through Pro-Am and getting our license. So we just signed up for 4 shootouts, and that's what we did. And actually met Lexus King out at Sonoma.
Yeah.
So we did Sonoma, Colorado, MDU, and Indy Drift.
Yeah.
And we licensed at Sonoma and MDU.
Okay. Yeah, because he brought your name, because he mentioned, like, actually, man, Lex has been on the podcast for a bunch. If you scroll back, he's been on there. He's been a most superior guy. So he mentioned, like, he mentioned you, like, way before the season, man. He's like, man, I'm looking forward to my guy Joshua getting out there. So he was talking you up before I actually seen you out there on the track, man. So this season, man, was we did a preseason before. Me and Lex kind of did a pre-storm, like, we're gonna talk about the season as it goes. Next year we're gonna actually do the live events as the event is going on. We're gonna do the podcast live. So he mentioned you. He mentioned Powers. He mentioned all the guys that, like, kind of made noise this season. We kind of talked about, like, kind of to look out for him, man. So it's good to see that he mentioned you before the season even started, before the first tire even got burned. He was like, dude, my guy Joshua Love, man, watch out for him. And the guy drives, just he's a cool guy. He's a sick driver, man. So definitely, man, it was good to see that go out and work out for you, man. So, and the biggest thing, man, a lot of guys out there when they get started, there's that self-doubt kind of in the back, like, can I really do this? And it's like, man, just go out there and do it, man. If you fuck up or screw up or whatever, there's you and the 32 other guys out there, and there's 1,000 dudes, including myself, that weren't there at the event. So hey, that's how I look at it, man. So overall, in your preparation for the season and your team and everything, man, what would you say what was some of the hardest things you guys had to contend with this year with the COVID crap?
I mean, so to be honest, COVID didn't hinder the season as much as I thought it would, besides the fact that we were getting ready for it early. Right. And, around February, March, when we were, starting to get prepared, we didn't know if it was going to happen, when it was going to happen, where it was going to happen, and just being able to change on the fly and do that. Because I know we saw quite a few people drop out of Pro 1 and Pro 2, specifically like the international guys from Pro 1.
Yeah.
But, I mean, really, I felt like it went really well despite everything else, because the people who were really in it, who really wanted to do it, still stuck around and made it happen. And, it's tough. Like, if you weren't able to be spontaneous, or you weren't able to switch things around like that late in the season, it was crazy. But we did, typically it's like once a month they'll do Pro 2, but we did 4 events in like less than 3 months. It was like every 2 weeks we were doing.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing to me Lex called out to, man, because we were like, me being a drifter myself, and like, kind of, man, it's like one of those things. I know it's one of those things where we all got to fix, because it's like drifters, man, we kind of like wait to the last minute to do shit when we know we got to get the engine built. We know we got to do that. And it's like, I mean, I know at the pro level, that's one thing that guys kind of, you're on top of, because you can't, that's not, it's a separation, and not talk to a few buddies who are, they want to, they don't want to do nothing with competition. So they kind of do the, they don't fast the shit down like they should. They don't do this. And out there, man, something loose or something broken that could cause you a weekend. So you guys are really on top of it. And there's a difference where a lot of guys, they just don't want to, it's pro sports, man. So you got to look out for that. You can't go to F1 event being like half-assed. It's just not going to work out for you. With that being said, like, so you guys, your car was already like squared away before when the season started, or was it, you guys just waiting on the call?
Yeah, we were. I mean, we were hoping to get it ready by like March, but then once they weren't sure, we were just. I think everybody
kind of
did, 'cause
throttle
like you
back.
said,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like the personality of drifters, but you know, we all procrastinate.
Yeah.
Like I don't think maybe that's why we all came together into this thing,
Yeah.
because we just all have that, you know, that same headspace
Yeah,
outside
man.
of drifting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely procrastinated till the end, and like I didn't actually drive the car for the first time until 2 weeks before FD,
No
and
shit.
we drove it in a competition at Indy Drift.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it, man. That's the
just go
fuck
out with
it.
the dogs, just
Yeah.
like all at once.
Yeah, because he was bringing up again. I bring up Lex a lot because he's my guy, man. He was saying like what was it Julian Jacobs? He was like the same thing, man. He's like, if you ain't working on your shit like the day before the event, man, you're doing it wrong. So it's
Are
like
you
one
even
of
a drifter?
yeah. So it's like one of those. It's like you don't care how much forward I plan. Like something always fucking happens, man. The hydro will lose pressure. Something to happen, man. Loading the car on the fucking thing, you'll do something or whatever. And it's one of those things. Like I got an S14 that I just need to run the oil lines, and I'll fire it up today. And then that'll be my FD Japan car, and then I have my S13, which is my actual pro car, which is D1, and then I did whatever with it. So I gotta get that. That hasn't run, dude. I drove it 5 years ago on my first pro event, got my license, and I haven't even done my post event breakdown yet. It's still the engine's on the stand broken, number 6 RB26. The piston is broken. So, I just been focused on my business for the last 5 years, and I run all this stuff by myself, man. So the editing, the videos, the international stuff is all me. I would like, when you speak, every time you speak on your team in the beginning, man, I kind of get like a little jealous, man, because like I don't have that here. I'm just like it's military guys, and I'm prime military, so the military guys do their thing. I can't really ask them to be part of my program because they got their obligation. Then I have like a few guys that are here as expats, but they're not really into it at the level I'm into it, so I can't have them on. So I don't have a team. I kind of do. I go to the events. I do my own tech. I'm my own spotter. I'm my own everything, man. So it's kind of, and I do okay, but as you know, man, you need a team, man. You need a spotter. You need a guy so you can go to your driver's meeting and relax and not have to worry about putting tires and shit on when you get back to the pit. So you don't have time for that. So speaking on that, man, like, going from like you just, of course, you got third place overall in the Pro 2 season, man. What's your plan? How much longer are you going to hang out in Pro 2? And what's your plans or car wise when you eventually move up to Pro Series, Pro 1?
Man, that's like the question of the year right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, but at Irwindale we took a big head-on collision into the wall. Yeah. So like that is, we kind of have like a chicken and the egg scenario right now, because right now we don't know. It looks like the car is probably totaled. Yeah. So we just built that chassis to go into this year with. And we had swapped over everything from the Pro-Am car that we had, like engine, tranny, diff, put it on over there, and we went the whole 9 yards on this thing. We stitch welded it, we rotisseried it, and it's just heartbreaking to see. Like as soon as I wrecked and got out of the car, dude, I just was like looking at dollar signs.
All the work, man.
And I was just like, man.
All the late nights, the fucking the beers, the pizza, F-bombs, all that stuff, man.
And it's like, well, it's like even beyond that, like what you were talking about with doing your own, media, like you run your own studio, you do your own videos. It's like, dude, everything that goes into this, like it's so much more than just a driver or a dude that builds a car. Like this whole thing, like taking it to the Pro 2 level or pro level or whatever you do, man, it's a whole ass business. Yeah, it is. It if you don't have that kind of mindset, like you're not gonna make it. Right. Yeah, and that's why I think sorry, man, finish your statement, man. Sorry about that. You're here. Oh, you're good. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, having to do all of that and then make the decisions, because it's like, people have asked me, like what you just said, are you going to go Pro 2, are you going to hang out, are you going to try and do Pro 1? And it's like, beyond all that, the things that I'd love to do, it's like, how are we even going to like afford this? Right. And you got to take a step back and like think of it as a business. Like, so that's where we're at, man. Like we're stuck with, we got to figure out if this car is ready. If the car isn't ready, then we got to start over and build another car. Right. And how are we going to afford that? And it's like, should we stay in Pro 2 and hang out and get better, or do you want to just progress and go to Pro 1 and like push yourself and get in the cage with the wolves?
Yeah. That the cool thing about yourself, Hurst and Brewski, man, you guys kind of have like you finish 1, 2, and 3, so you have a little, you have bargaining chips versus everybody else who didn't they didn't make it, they didn't finish the season with a trophy or whatever, man. So that's what a lot of guys don't realize, man. It's the outside looking in, of course, man. We spoke and I feel bad, man, because I got you in now, but the whole season, man, we just been kind of caught up in Amada and the LZ's raft, because Mata, I'm pretty sure you knew Mata before he came on.
Mata's a good friend of mine, actually.
And actually, like the whole, of course, you're good, so you definitely know about the whole internet drama when he released his videos a while ago and everything, and
long time ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know him back then. I didn't know him back then.
Yeah.
I just met him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I just remember everybody from Colorado talking about these videos, and I was like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Because I met him and I was like, dude, he's cool as shit to me. And when me and him, we did One More Time battles at St. Louis, and like I just remember, it's COVID time and shit, and they had announced who won, and me and him, like, I just looked at him and he gave me a big hug, and then you could see they just went off because they're like,
yeah, dude. So it was like, that's the same. So like I knew it from the videos. Of course, I seen it again. I was so wrapped up in my stuff, so I know it was everybody was sharing the video, and they were like, and I took it as he was just trolling people. That's how I looked at it. And then like it kind of went away, and then the next time I heard his name was like FD Pro. I was like Pro 2 Mata. I was like, is that the same Austin Mata? And then I hit him up about 3 weeks ago, and we spoke a little bit on. So he's going to be on as well, and have him guys on. But yeah, man, we talked, like, you guys are doing your thing, man. You got the points, obviously. You were a points contender and got a placement. But it was like, we were talking so much about goddamn LZ and Mata, man, and I kind of felt bad. Like, you guys are doing your work, but they were just, and Mata was right there, man. I mean, if he didn't crash into the wall, yeah.
I think me and him were closest in points than anybody. He was 12 points behind me. Yeah, and it was a nail biter at the end, because me and him actually made a gentleman's deal about who got more points, because we have the same number. Yeah. So love you, bro, but I'm stealing the number.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's cool shit, man. That's cool stuff, man. Like it's great to see and hear stuff like that, man. And even like when JTP and Odie had a thing, and then like JTP bounced out and let Odie go, and he kind of gave him like a pass there, and it was like cool to see. Even in the competition, man, everybody wants to win, everybody wants to do well, because everybody out there, all those drivers collectively are doing the same thing. They're going through the same grind to get there and everything, so everybody know how important it is. But it's like one of those things. It's good to see that the camaraderie is there. It's not like the drag racing guys a little bit cutthroat. They kind of, nah, you can't see my engine, and drift. It's like, yeah, man, you can see whatever, because we don't care about how fast it is in a straight line relatively. I mean, FD kind of looks like, I mean, if your shit's slow off the line, man, like you're kind of left behind, man. So like, far as the cars and everything, man, what's your overall your general idea? Well, not general idea, but like, what's your feelings on the way that the cars are built now for FD, and what do you see them like going to in the next 5 years, tech wise and all that stuff?
I mean, so from when I first started, I started with a stock car, and like built it all the way up until we got to Pro M and got to Pro 2.
Right.
So for me, it's always been like a small stepping stone. Like this year it was a turbo, and then next year we LS'd it, and then we dog boxed it, and then we boosted it, and now it's boosted V8. So for me, it's like I love it because I love the progression, and it's like, how else are you going to get better than drive with better drivers and drive with more grip and more power and bigger tracks, faster tracks, snappier tracks. So to me, I like it. I'm not going to lie. Thinking about going to Pro 1 is a little intimidating, because like Texas and Irwindale, for example, was like the fastest I've ever gone in a car at that point.
Yeah.
So to think about doing that with even wider tires and a 300 or 400 more horsepower, I'm just like, it takes a lot for your brain to wrap around all that.
Dude, I know exactly what you. When I first drove a 600 horsepower drift car, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, dude, everything was happening so quick. Like, I drove this track thousands of laps. My home track here, and when I went from it was like what 280 for years, and I went to like 3 something. I skipped 400. I went straight from 3 whatever, but I was drifting in a bunch, and I went straight from that to about 590, 600, and I was just like, dude, everything was happening. I watched a video, and it looked like I was out of control. Like the car was.
Dude, I watched videos of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's so crazy just to think like what I was doing last year. And then, dude, it's just, I don't even know how your brain like gets used to that so quickly.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like why we were thinking about staying back in Pro 2, because like the smaller tracks I did great at, but like Texas, that was so different for me. That was so fast, so snappy. I never done anything like that. So, you know, thinking about doing that with, you know, Osbo or Odie, you know, some of these guys, I'm like, man, can I hang? And that's where you get back to the self-doubt. But
yeah, it's one. I mean, I think, you know, it's the one thing that a lot of guys they don't, again, not us, not drifters, not the pro-am guys, but just people who watch. And again, I did a lot. I watched, again, this was the first season where I watched every pretty much every event I had in my shop while I was actually working on my car. I watched the events and everything. And the you know, it's like everybody, what people don't realize, man, it's not the skill thing. Is everybody can drift out there. That's not a question of that. Everybody can drift. It just comes down to pretty much, honestly, like the personal backing, your finances and things like that. And that's why, you know, even James Dean and those guys, on top of COVID and everything or whatever they had going on, they pulled out or backed out. And like I bring up James Evans a lot. Sicky, they still supporting everybody, but Sicky backed out because, you know, Rapper Dan was a great driver, still is, but he just wasn't seeing a return on investment. Which I'm a business guy, so like, you know, if I go, my reason for coming to Formula Drift US, of course you want to win and do well, but it's marketing, man. The US drifting right now, and I'm in Japan. I'm 45 minutes away from my track. You guys are killing it, man. You guys did great this season to put it out there to the world. FD was pretty much one of the only series is cooking out there. D1 was doing their thing, but D1 is dying, and I chased D1 for many years, and I don't really care about it now anymore, to be honest. And FD is like is you know what I mean, it's from a guy in Japan saying that FD is number one, man. It should make some people out there happy, but that's just my personal opinion on it, man. You know, that's just how it is, man. So have you been
It definitely does, because like I look, you know, like we from the US, we look out at like Japan,
right?
And especially, well, specifically me, I look at like Irish Drift Championship and you know, Drift Games, all the people in Europe, because to me, those guys look like they're on top of their shit.
Yeah.
Like when you watch their tandems, especially like in the stadiums and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's like it blows my mind.
It's a spectacle, definitely,
on
for sure.
top of each other.
Yeah,
on top of each other.
But when I say I want to, because I said it on Lex, and Lex corrected me too. He brought out drift matches, which I did watch, and just like to see James Dean, man, he just like he rips so hard, but he's so calm when he's doing it, and that's the zen level. Like I guess Taniguchi here, who drives the HQ, you know, call him Nobu. I forgot how I said his name or whatever, but he's very in control. He's not my style is very aggressive. I make the car snap and everything. It's very deliberate. I don't have a lot of extra hand movements, but he's just like, he sits back in his seat and he kind of drifts from the It's just like it's like a
so chill.
It's like a Mozart, and it's like the dude is killing it, but he's just chill.
Well, so like people, you know, like, you know, we talk about skill with driving, and really to me, I see a lot of dudes that are killer drivers, and we'll watch them in practice. And we'll watch them, or you know, at grassroots events, fun events, and we're like, this guy is insane. But as soon as they pull up to the line for a comp,
you're
like whole different thing. Like what happened? So like for me, getting calm, I take so seriously. Like my whole regime, getting in the car, like getting ready, getting in the car, pulling up to the line, like I take that all really serious, because I think it's a head game.
It is.
Most of the time.
So what do you think? Like, what do you? I mean, don't give out too many of your trade secrets, man. But what do you think about, or what do you do to calm yourself down?
So I initially had like kind of my thing that I did, but now I just kind of do something. I do whatever I feel at the moment. Like sometimes every time I pull up to the line, I do breathing exercises. So I do like 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, and try and get my breathing level. So make sure I get oxygen in my brain like right before I go out, and try and level my heartbeat, you know. And but sometimes like you'll see me in the car and I'm like bumping rap music and I'm, you know, getting down. And then sometimes I listen to jazz and I listen to something real smooth and try and keep real cool.
Yeah.
It really just depends on my mood that day.
Yeah. That's one of the hardest. It's like that. Mental is everything. I also I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, practice judo. I need to get on to get my black belt there, and I fight MMA and stuff like that. Bro, practice MMA. I haven't done any sanctioned fights yet, but that's you called it right there, man. Like that goes from boxing to basketball to whatever, man. You got the dudes who are the practice team. I also played Division I football at University of Maryland. I don't say that too much, but I did. I was a walk-on, and you got the guys who are like killers in practice, man. They kill in the gym. They do all this stuff, but when they get under the bright lights, they just, you know, if you can't put it together there, man, it's kind of a waste of time. And a lot of guys, right. I see people, I watch some of the guys practice, and then I could tell as soon as they pull up to the line, they look to the left, look to the right. It's like I
always see guys like when we pull up to the line, I realize most everybody, I'll pull up to the line for practice or for tandem, and I'll look over at them and they're just still and they're just looking forward. Yeah. And I'm always like, but I'm like, hey, come on, you ready? And they're just like,
they're thinking about it too much. They're thinking about
right.
They think about the entry. They're thinking about the clipping point. They're thinking about, and that's why I noticed for me personally, I messed up the most, man. When I thought about I'm gonna switch back here, shift up the third gear because I got a H pattern gearbox, and then that's one of the things that sucks is that right there. I got to looking at getting a dog box too, because I don't know how many great drifters I've seen miss gears, man. Because it's like you're in it and you just fucking jam it. And you miss that gear and you're out of it, man. You fuck up the tandem. If you're in a lead, the guy crashes into you. And it's like you think about all this stuff, man. And like when I got my pro license, I just like kind of went to the line and I kind of really said, I don't fucking care. And that's what I did my best. And I just kind of, because I was in a line, Daigo's in front of me, Nakamura's to the right of me. And then all these guys, like my first pro event is with these fucking dudes. And I actually missed a podium by like a couple mistakes, man. And it was surreal, man, to be there with those dudes after watching them on TV for years. And then it kind of like I'm a confident guy, but when that happened, that's all I needed to see. That I can definitely roll with these guys. Is just showing up, getting there, and I think that's half the battle, man. So I mean, for like, all right, some dude out there before we get too much deeper into it, you got guys out there watching Pro-Am or whatever. What advice would you give to dudes who want to do this, who want to do Pro 2? Some things to look out for, some things to avoid, and what would you say to a young guy out there looking to do what you're doing?
Man, take your time and get it all set up correct. Like getting out there and drifting, like you said, anybody can do that. Right. You can build, a cool car for 10 grand, and have 400 horsepower and go out there and rip. But today drifting is a whole package. Yeah. And if you don't have backup and you don't have sponsors, you're not going to go that far, so like working on your marketing, working on, if you want to push into YouTube or Instagram or whatever it is, it's really like take your time. And if it takes you a couple extra years to get to that point, to get recognition, so that you get backing from a team or sponsors or whoever it is, like that really, people don't think about that as much. Yeah. They just want to say, no, I'm a great driver, or I got a great car and I'm a great driver. Like that's like a quarter of it. Yeah, it like, is, honestly. Man. It's so many guys. I kind of correlate that too. I brought up the analogy of, there's like, of course it's NBA, you got LeBron James, all those guys, Michael Jordan, blah, 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 whatever. Then there's like a lot of dudes, man, that they're great park guys, but they didn't want to go to school. They didn't make it, and they're just as good, quote unquote, as an NBA guy, but under park rules. So you got guys that just, I mean, some guys are hybrids where they're grassroots guys and they also like to compete. Some guys are just straight grassroots, and some guys are just comp only. You won't catch them at a grassroots event. So I kind of got placed personally under the guys here, man. I'm around a lot of military guys, and a lot of these guys, when they got here, I was already making my business, which is 5 years ago when I started my business. So they always asked me to come with them.
And I'm like, dude, I got to build this car. I got a customer. I'm legit. I'm serious about it. I got to do what I got to do. So they kind of say again.
Oh, you're back. It froze for a good minute.
All right, cool. All right, so we bad that. All right, so we get to go. But what I was saying, man, was the guys pretty much kind of labeled me as an E-list, which they didn't know me, and when they talked to me, they're like, oh man, guy's actually pretty cool. I am pretty intense about what I do because again, it's just me. I can't afford to fuck up and have time wasted, man. So it's like people just, I think in the drifting thing, they got to find their thing, and then I think what a lot of guys realize after about a season or so, they just realize it ain't for them. Obviously, yourself, man, in your first season of Pro 2, making a podium, man, is a great launch for you, man. So you guys, of course, can take it and run with that, do things. I was relieved to hear Brewski say he's going to hang around. So I mean, it's again, man, you said that's perfectly 100% correct in my thoughts, and guys are just kind of going up too fast, and then you get up there and then you just get wiped out. And I think it's definitely cool to hang out there. You guys become household names, and then that is your package just gets bigger and bigger, and then it goes from there. I emailed FD about 3 weeks ago. I'm still waiting for a response. And I said I do have pro license in Japan. I got my pro license under Keiichi Tsuchiya, who validated me enough to give me the license and everything. So that's a pretty thing. But I've been away for 5 years, and I was like, hey man, can I petition to be Pro 2 or whatever? So waiting to see what that goes on. I'm pretty sure I got to do more events and things like that. But myself, man, being I'm a guy's like, man, you got pro license already. Why would you step back? I'm like, dude, because that's a different stratosphere. I never drifted on the bank, to be honest. I never done bank drifting. So that's you gotta, I think, swallow your pride, and I think people who do that, they progress. Guys will just go there like, I'm a shit wherever I go. I'm like, you're gonna go there, look stupid, and people are not gonna like you, man. So it is what it is, man. But you nailed it too, where like you could be a great drifter and have a shitty attitude, or have a great attitude and not be so good at drifting, and you get sponsors and partners to team up with you, and bam, somebody will pay for your event entry, somebody will pay for your tires and things like that. So there's a lot going into it, man. Speaking on that, man, because we you talk about young guys, how much not knocking sponsors because they all do their thing, man, but how, like, in your opinion, man, like, I mean, what's your personal opinion on, like, how do you utilize sponsors? How do you go about getting them and things like that? And how do you work them into your program?
So I guess we go about it, I guess, in a pretty standard way as far as I've been told. But there's actually another podcast that I did, Drifting Pro-Am, where RJ from Big Duck Club came on, and I spoke about it and he spoke about it as well. And this was the first time, like, me and him had only interacted in emails, and he came on and actually talked about how I was like an ideal candidate for a sponsorship. So I'm actually kind of glad you brought it up. But essentially, right away, I didn't really know exactly what people were looking for, but I'm a businessman as well. And basically what I want to see is that ROI. Where do you have a plan? Where are you going to go? And how are you doing this, and how long you plan on doing this for? So when I first started looking for sponsors, we put together, I actually worked with a friend of mine, and she does graphic design, and she put together a nice little packet for me. And I basically came up with dates, and I sent out to sponsors. I was like, this is who I am. This is what I've accomplished. This is what I'm doing. This is where I plan on being. This is where I'm trying to go. And just line it all out for them and show them that, like, hey, I'm dedicated, not just like, hey, can I get your wheels for cheap because I got clout in the local track?
Yeah, man. That would you do? You just I hope I just had a recent issue with a person, man, and I mean, I don't know if we're still friends or whatever, man, but I'm pretty brutal and pretty strict. So I don't fluff anything, and
breaking hearts out here.
People out there, man, like people like me and my guy Alan talked about it, man. A lot of guys want it. Everybody wants to do it, but when it comes down to doing those late nights, to pulling those engines, to doing all the stuff you got to do to get to that starting line, there's a lot of shit, and you know it. There's a lot of shit that goes down to this, and you feel it too, man. Like for me, when I pull up to that line to go, I'm like, I know I built my own engines. I do I paint everything, man. I do my whole program. Again, it'd be nice to have some people. I'm good with time management. I got PTSD from my rack, so I don't sleep a lot. So I use that. I'm here 2-3 in the morning, and I do like 18-hour days or whatever. That's beyond the fact, man. But when you pull to that line and you strapped up, it's like in my mind, it's like, man, all that shit that went to it was worth it. I'm about to go out here and jam with my compadre. Whatever happens, but I'm here. And again, millions of people now with the whole LZ crowd, millions of people are there just sitting on the sideline wishing they could do this, man. So again, major props to you guys for doing that and being out there, man. So again, and this is a guy, I'm 37. I've been in a game since I've been like 17 or 18, 20, whatever years. And like, I'm getting motivation from guys, that I never met before. And, I'm in Japan. I should be like, but it doesn't matter, man. I get motivation from all my guys, man. So, and again, man, as soon as I asked you like for the podcast, and I asked Brewski and Hurst, and they all you guys, I was going on to Tokyo, all you guys at the same time, like, yeah, man, let's do it. So it was like Brewski responded first. I think you were second. And then Hurst hit me up, man. So I was like, shit, and that was cool, man. And then, Lex pointed it out, and I'm straight up, man. Y'all good. A lot of guys, man, they kind of I don't put anybody at a certain pedestal, man. Everybody's even to me. And I don't believe in like, waiting till somebody's at Kanye's fucking level to start wanting to talk to him, man. So I want to talk to all my guys, man. So that's why I was like, I wasn't assuming you guys were going to say yes, man. But again, as quick as you guys responded, it was good to go and everything. So again, thanks for that, for the time and stuff like that. So, I mean, drifting aside, man, next season's, did they say when they're going to start contacting you guys for like, next season's provisions, or they just kind of say, see you later?
I mean, they did say that they're working on it.
Right.
But 2021 isn't looking as promising as we were hoping, say, in the summer of 2020. Right. When we were like, oh, we just got to get through COVID, and next year it'll be cool next year. But now next year is like, oh shit, that's in a month.
Yeah.
And we're still, like now cities are going back into lockdown and stuff, and it's like,
yeah, man.
Okay, so at this point we are getting ready to to do it all over again. Like no spectators. Yeah. And for us, again, getting up on the podium and getting Rookie of the Year and stuff, that's great for us because we're kind of in the light with sponsors, but at the same time, we don't get to use those numbers that it was like, oh, we got 15,000 people in the stands. Like,
yeah, no, that's true.
We got like the teammates' wives and shit. People watching.
Yeah, but, man. That's man. It's weird, man, because some people like kind of like some people are getting like different people, man, extroverts, introverts, and stuff like that. Some people are actually loving to staying home and stuff because that's just their personality anyway under normal circumstances. And then like some guys, man, they just can't wait for it to be lifted so they can go out and do their thing, man. So me, it was I was actually planning on coming out, not watching. I was actually before the Corona stuff happened, I was going to come over and actually do what I hate doing. I hate watching drifting. I cannot.
Why do you hate watching drifting?
Well, I mean, no, it's not. I'm actually being at the event, like being next to. I can't really go to a live event and watch because just smelling the tires, just the sounds. It makes me want to do it, man. So, I'm not at that. I'm not at that 60. A lot of guys are 60 years old. They've been drifting forever. They're cool with it, but I don't like watching. I mean, on TV I watch. I can't be there, but
yeah.
I generally never go to a drift event just to hang out there because then you'll be that guy like, oh yeah, I could do that, and you're like, all right, well, why you ain't out there? So it's like,
why am I not here, man?
Yeah.
Fuck. All I had to do was get the truck and the trailer and the car.
Yeah. So I got the at my local track. I got a car there. So when I go there, if I just happen to be in the town, I stop there, and then I do exporting vehicles too. So if I go down to Yokohama, and if I'm taking one car, I'll actually take one of my cars, my grip or drift car, and I'm just by chance there's an event going on, and I'll stop by the event or stop at the BCU or Nico or whatever on the way back up. And it's cool here because we just rock up and drift, man. We don't need a BCU. You just walk in there and drift. Pay your thing, you go. There's no events needed. Nico, you can't really just go in there. There's generally an event, but most of the tracks, the smaller tracks, you pull up, you sign your form, and you go on the track, man. There's no formalities, man. So speaking of that, man, so you're talking about Japanese stuff. Have you ever been to Japan, or are you looking to come over here?
I haven't. I would love to, though. I know a lot of dudes, especially like Aaron Losey and the Lone Star guys. They go out to Ibisu quite a bit, and I mean that just looks like crazy fun.
You got
I got my Pro 2 car, but then my chassis that from before then, my first car, like that's just my beater, play car now, and we take that like all over the place. Like in between FD rounds, I'll just grab that one buddy, me, my trailer, and my car, and just go beat on it.
Yeah, man.
And that's what it looks like y'all do out at Ibisu. How do you say it? I don't want to say it wrong.
Some people, Japanese say Ibisu with a V, Ebis or Ibisu. I just say Ibisu. But yeah, man, I'm literally I'm literally 5 hours from Ibisu. I'm in Misawa, Japan, which is Amori, which is the same as they go prefectures, so it's like kind of states. So I'm 5 hours down the road. I can get there if I jam on it. I get there 4.5 hours. So yeah, man, if you decide to come over, I got cars. You just show up and we can rock, man. So too easy with that. So
don't make it sound too easy, man.
It literally is, man. It's I got my S14. I'm getting set up, and I got my S13, and then I got personally about 37 cars here. It's easy to get, man, because the guys leave. In Japan, as the military guys, you can only have one car at a time if you're not married. If you're married, you can have two, but the other one's generally for the wife. So what happened if a guy, like for example, if he's in S13, he got to either sell it or deregister it, and to deregister it, it's space thing. So I'll get a guy say, hey man, I want to sell this 180 for $5,000. I just want the engine and trans, and then I'll take the body. So I got about 6 or 7 Skylines with no engines in them. I got S14s or whatever. So yeah, man, I'll get something set up because I don't have nothing currently set up but a Subaru, and that's not cool. And
that's what I was into before drift cars. Yeah, one day I was like, man, this ain't cool.
I set up. I got a Subaru truck that I chopped the back off and converted to rear wheel drive, but I'm on my 6th diff, and it's just not. It's not good, man. So I mean, it's so the wheelbase is so small, it's so snappy, and everything. But yeah, man, like you say, seriously, man, just like let me know. I mean, after all this shit passes over and we can travel freely. Just let me know if you're looking to come over, man. And I can set up an BCU event or whatever, man. So it's right here. I got my truck.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, man. And that's to everybody that's watching and listening. If you want to come over here, like seriously, I've had Alan from Bridge Moto come over. A few guys from UK came over and everything. And anytime guys come over, we're gonna hit the track, man. It's like the car's already set up. The car's already oiled up. They're on the trailer. So some guys come here and they think they're just gonna hang out at the shop. I'm like, dude, let's hit the track up, man. They come to Japan and drive.
You're like, that's not how I do it. I don't go to the track and hang out.
Yeah, no. We're gonna go drive, man. So the guys are shocked when they come over here and I got a car ready. And I run my shop is reservation based. So I mean, I don't have people just like waiting to come in. So they just schedule. And I can always change it. So seriously about that, man. If you're looking to come over, let me know. We could do that, man. So. Overall, man, like I say, you guys watched the guys. You watch guys outside of the states and everything. What's a driver if there's somebody out there that you kind of initially modeled yourself after or try to pick up their skill sets or style? Is there anybody out there, or you just kind of got your own thing?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think so, to be honest.
Just kind of do your own thing.
Yeah, I mean. I know a lot of people, like there's only really a couple different styles to go after in drifting.
Yeah.
You see more like, crazy like Forrest Wang and Chelsea Denofa types that just want to go crazy backwards angle. And then there's like more conservative, which is kind of more where I'm at. Especially coming from like grassroots small comp and then through Pro-Am, we realize like as you're competing, like I go out to grassroots events and just try and throw stupid shit and run the wall and throw it backwards. But when we're competing, I run a lot more conservative.
Right.
And I try and just, make it through because especially through Pro-Am, you didn't have to be all that crazy. You just had to do it every time.
Right. Consistent.
Just be consistent and people they're gonna choke.
Right.
For lack of better words, like they're going to freak out and they're going to beat themselves 9 times out of 10. So if you just keep doing your thing and run a 90% run every time and save that 10% for when you need it.
Yeah. That's what we said, man. It's like the Witchcomb saying you got to win like what You got what two, like roughly 6 times. You got you win your battle, you win your battle, you win your battle, and everything. Then you're bam, like before you know it, you're in the fucking finals. And
right.
And it happens quick, and you just you kind of get in the zone. I think you'll get to because you guys you see the same faces, so you get to know like he likes to initiate this way. He likes to run it up and then initiate a little bit late. He likes to flick in. This guy likes to e-break in. So you get to know all that. So it's like what you know and what I know is like it's a small community. What a lot of people don't know, they realize, oh, these guys are like, no, dude, we see the same faces, the same judges, the same track marshals. It's the same people you see over and over, man. So you get to know these guys.
And it's like a little traveling town,
Yeah,
like
circus.
And it's crazy because like especially during COVID, like you don't see that many friends anymore. So I saw friends that were from like Mike Power, from New York.
Right.
I saw him 4 times this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than I saw like my friends that live 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah, man.
And we actually, speaking of him, like we battled him, or we saw him at 3 or 4 shootouts throughout last year, and just got to know him really well. And then like a bunch of the rookies from Pro 2, they're the same thing from Pro Am.
Right.
And then like Micah Diaz I met this year, and I remember I went up to him and I was like, bro, I'm your biggest fan. And he was like, dude, shut up.
yeah.
I've been watching you on Instagram and YouTube for years. It's like, dude, shut up. Like,
yeah.
can't say that, dude.
Yeah.
But like Pro 2, we had like 22 drivers or something, and I feel like I'm pretty sure I've at least talked to and met every single one of those guys.
Yeah.
And it's just, dude, it's such a small world, and that's really what kept me into drifting, was like the camaraderie and how small it is and how everybody knows each other. And then when it comes down to actually figuring out their styles, like you said, like with your spotter, we know what they're doing because we've been following them and we've been talking to them in their pit. And if they got issues, like we know about it.
Right.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Like,
that and that's another thing too with I think everybody should have like some kind of social media stuff, because that's just the thing right now. If you don't want to do the social media stuff, it's kind of like guys now, they're not asking like, what can you do? It's like the first question when I seen some modern sponsor like stuff is like, how many followers do you have? It's like the first question, like collectively between all your Twitter, Instagram, and everything. So I can say on mine, between all my stuff and I got some groups and pages, probably like, I think last time I did it was like 800 to 900K. It might be a little bit more now because I picked up a bunch of guys since I started the podcast, man. But it's like one of those things, man, where it's kind of a requested now. You got to have some kind of, because that's how people are selling shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I open up with the vinyls here. Like I guarantee I'll sell about 4 of these after I release this video, because people see it and they'll go in there and order it. So my YouTube thing was all, if you look back at my history, I used to do events. I never showed my face on the camera, never talked. And then around about 6 or 7 years ago, I started talking on the camera, and people started like watching it more. And I was like, why the fuck people want to see my face and hear me talk? And I didn't think it was a thing, man. And they say, hey man, could you go eat some ramen? I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not gonna fucking eat no ramen.
What?
Yeah, I'll eat it, but I'm not gonna record myself slurping noodles,
right.
Dude. Like.
I don't know about you, but we started, like last year when I started putting together proposals.
Yeah.
We had just a couple thousand Instagram followers, and we still do. We still have like 6,000. Right. Like we just started doing YouTube this year. Yeah. And we just broke 300 subscribers. And I remember like me and my buddy who runs my media for me, we were like 300.
Yeah.
It's so sad, because like you watch people like LZ with like 4 mil, or people, 500K, and I'm like, dude, I can't even like imagine.
I don't know. It just I don't know. It just kind of happens for some people versus, and then also with LZ, I didn't know he was in the BMX before the whole stuff, so he brought there, and I always bring up Joe Rogan at least once every other podcast. Like with him, man, he's known from the TV shit, the UFC, so he has like his followers are like from, and he hunts and all this stuff, man. So his followers are from different all these different stratospheres, man. So he brought the crowd over and got the crowd over and everything. So it's just kind of like, the biggest thing I see guys doing is just like when they obviously not themselves, is like an instant turn off for me. And I just stay to me. Like, I mean, I've been doing this. I've been on YouTube since 2005, and I got 6,000 subscribers. And I didn't really start until 2 years ago, actually, like trying to grow it. And it takes time, man. It's just, I mean, hopefully, like I say, from this, I'll get your YouTube page and drop it down in the link so people can follow it or whatever.
Appreciate
and for
that.
your Instagram and everything. So that's my thing with this stuff, is just networking. And and I did contact LZ. I contacted a few other guys who are up there on the YouTube thing. And I'm not saying LZ is saying this, but some of the guys who have that higher following, they're not really they don't want to work with anybody that don't have the same level or above, because they feel like you're trying to mooch. And I'm like, dude, I'm in Japan doing my thing. I don't need it. But I tell guys, like, look, I don't want your followers. And I tell them that straight up. First thing, I don't want your followers. So I'm not looking for you to spam my shit. You know what I mean? I just want to talk to you and everything. And some guys, they come through, and other guys, they just like, whatever. Get the Kanye level, then I'll talk to you. And for me, my personality is, if you don't want to talk to me now, I don't want to talk to you later. That's just
right.
That's just the way I, there's a few guys out there that may watch this and take offense to it, but again, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could have blew me off, like, nah, mate, I'm good, man. I just fucking got third police podium. Like, just talk to me later. And you didn't do that. You're like, yeah, man, I'm down. And everything.
No, man, and we still, we still go to grassroots events. Like, we went to one last weekend. Yeah. I was at a grassroots event a weekend before FD, and then we did FD, and then I went home for Thanksgiving, drove back, and went straight to another local event. Yeah, man. And like, dude, like you were saying, like, I don't put anybody on a pedestal, because I was in the music industry, about 10 years ago. And I remember meeting like the first big dude that I really looked up to. And he was just a dick. Dude. Oh yeah.
So it really is true, man.
Yeah. It put it into perspective. But then I've met other dudes in the music industry too that I looked up to, and I was like, dude, you were super humble, down to earth, like you're just down to kick it. And like, I just go up to them at a show, and I'm just like, hey, what's up? You want to hang out? And they're just like, dude, let's hang out. You want to go to your house after this? Like, let's go kick it. Yeah. And there's people like that everywhere. Whether it be in music or show business or motorsports, whatever, dude. It's
it don't matter. And before I switched it, because I got it written down here, music. But the reason why I'm like that personally, because I remember my very first car was a Celica, 1986 Celica, that I never registered. I didn't have the money. It was a shit bag. And so my first real car was S13 hatchback, man. And I got that for $1,000 way before the drift tax. It was like 2004. It was a year after Falcon had kicked off in New Jersey, Wall, New Jersey, and all that stuff like that. So I got it at $1,000. Ball tires, drove it home with no plates on it from DC to Baltimore. I almost crashed it actually the first day, trying to drift it. And it was raining, ball tires, dude. Like, on the way home, almost fucking chucked the car on my first day. So I bought some Japanese plates off of eBay, and it said S13 with some kanji shit. So that was my plates. Mm-hmm. So I drove it back there. But I remember going to it was open diff, man. Open diff, single overhead cam, KA, everything, man. And I remember going to the car event the first day, man. I thought I was killing it, but I was actually just burning a clutch and one tire. And so inside the car was loud and shit, and I think I'm killing it, and everybody's looking at me like, what the fuck's this guy doing? And this is a drag racing scene too. This is a drag racing thing. So drifting was not happening. This is 2004. So I come over there, and the old guy was like, hey man, knock that shit off, whatever. And he was like, the fucking car is ugly. You only burnt and everybody started getting on it and everything. And I kind of went back at him. I'm a football player at the time, pretty tough or whatever. And but it was, and everybody it was a joking kind of thing, and like, older guys looking down on younger guys. But then I was like, man, that shit. But they were really, a couple of dudes really meant it. Like, the car is shitty, like you suck or whatever. And I was like, dude, and he got a fucking S2000, which I got 2 of them now. And I'm like, if I ever get like cool shit or big shit, I'll never be like those guys, man. I'll never look down on people. So when guys come over to my car at the track, man, they want to, like, a dude that actually sit in my car. I was like, dude, just don't start it up and shit. But yeah, just go and sit in it. And this is at a local event, so different than the actual competition. But yeah, letting the dude sit in the car and feel it, feel it handle and shit. And he was like, yeah, man, this is cool. Never been in a drift car. And I've got that multiple times. And then also, I mean, sometimes people catch you on the wrong time. You had some shit happen, and they figure that's how you are. You know what I mean? So
I feel that because I've had one of my crew members tell me before, he was like, so one of the grassroots events I was telling you about that we just went to, this we actually had an indoor drift event.
Right.
So it was like in a warehouse.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of the bigger dudes from the state didn't show up because they were like, I don't want to mess with that. You know, my car is too big and bad for that.
Right.
But I went out to this thing, dude. We just had a little figure 8 inside of a building, but to me it was cool as shit because we had never drifted inside before.
Yeah, I never.
So I was like,
inside.
I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But we did all we could do for a few hours. You know, so then after that, I ended up giving, it was 11 different people ride-alongs. Yeah. And 6 of them had never been in a drift car before.
Dude.
So it's always fun to go out there, and just hang out with people who are, just starting, because drifting being so small, if you go count people out and say oh, I'm not gonna, mess with you because, you're small potatoes or whatever, then we're not gonna, who are we gonna drift with down the road?
Exactly. You gotta get contenders in there, because you gotta, a lot of people don't realize, like I say, you guys, COVID cut the numbers down, and people don't realize events, if speaking outside of competition, how many times you see an event get canceled because they don't have enough people, because that event they got to pay in advance. What guys out there don't realize, you guys watching or listening, the event organizer has to pay in advance for that, and they're gonna recoup the money, and if they get more,
and it's out of his pocket,
right? Yeah.
More times than not.
If you get more money back, then you make some money. But generally, the event organizer is not making money. So when they cancel the event, it's not because they've been a dick. It's just they can't. That's out of pocket, man. They already lost money too, because they got to pay that deposit, pay their insurance, pay the reservation, and things like that. So, and that goes for parties and anything. You got to pay for the venue. You got to pay the stupid insurance. You got to do this, and everybody got to have roll cages welded in or bolted in, or how you want to do that. So. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes, even for the small events and things like that. So guys are there looking to get into it. Just start local, and even do autocross just to get in a car and get going and everything, man. So switching on that, man, we're talking about drifting a little bit. The music stuff, man. How did you get? Because I make music and everything, man. How did you get into it? What kind of music were you doing? And what's what's your? Do you mess with it now and stuff like that, or what's up with that?
I really don't anymore. Back when I was 20, I'd say 19, 20, so about 11 years ago.
Right.
This was right when UK dubstep started making it over to the US.
Okay.
So we were really into the 140 BPM drum and bass and dubstep and shit like that. And that was just what I did. That was just a hobby at the time, because we were all into music. I've always been into music. I've been a musician since I was 10.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing for a while, and for 3-4 years I tried to push it, and after a while I just kind of got tired of being a broke musician.
Yeah.
So I kind of quit chasing it, but I still throughout the years I still got my drums set up. That's what I've always played. I play drums, and I'm trying to get back into making music. I'm building a studio in my house right now.
Yeah.
Just so I can mess around.
I just sent you images of this is my studio here at my shop. I'm actually upstairs in my garage right now, and I got a studio. I got a small studio at my house and everything. So I'm I was a gear whore. I started buying shit just to buy shit, and then I realized I don't even fucking use this keyboard. I don't use this synth. And then so my main thing is, you see the MPCs I got. This is 3 out of 6 that I have, and so my I just got the brand new MPC 1. I haven't even put fucking the hour into it. It's just I ain't had time, man. So it's all cool, touch screen and new technology, man. But the workflow is definitely a lot better. So for me, I'm hip hop based, but I do a lot of electronica music sampling. A lot of hip hop guys sample the same shit. Kanye's already done it. But for me, drum and bass, that's just the best shit, because number one, nobody knows. There's so much of it out there. There's so many fucking EDM artists, man. It's just endless. And
you can look at it just like drifting, dude. Yeah. You have your pros at FD, but how many grassroots dudes are out there every weekend shredding tires? There's even more than that. Kids just sitting in their bedroom, or in their mom's basement.
SoundCloud is
cracking away.
Yeah, SoundCloud. I had an incident where, you say, it's crazy. You mentioned the world is so small. I made it. I got beats on my SoundCloud that are 10 years old, and most people haven't heard them. And there was a rapper, J. Cole, that came out with a track or whatever. And the guy's like, "Hey man, you sold a beat to J. Cole?" And I'm like, nah, I didn't. He's like, dude, that's your beat. And he sent it to me, and
What?
no shit, it was
What song was it?
It was I don't know, I don't even remember what song it was, but the sample, that's not a sample you just stumble upon. The sample, I told a guy, this sample was an EDM group that was like album number 13, track number 28. It wasn't
Right.
like, I just listened to a lot of this stuff, so I'll listen to it in the garage. Now that sample will pop out, and I'll just make a note. And anyway, the track was on my shit for about 4 years. They got it, and I emailed the group on Facebook, and like technology, man, they responded like, yeah, man, the dude got permission, and he was like, dude, hip hop is fucking brutal because I don't have the money to clear all these samples, so I'm not gonna clear them. And they got the lawyers and everything to clear it, and so they could just take my shit. And he changed the hi-hat, changed the tempo a little bit. I'm like, dude, that's my fucking beat, dude. And
well, hip hop guys have been battling over that for decades now.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the OGs are like, it's supposed to be under like art laws where you can sample and do stuff like that.
Right.
But these days it gets so tricky. You can't even post a video on YouTube if you have a song playing in the background.
Yeah, dude, it'll sniff it out.
Call you.
It'll copyright. The YouTube copyright is crazy. Facebook, I thought people were joking when they put I don't have the rights to this, and if you don't write that in your thing, they can take out the music, man. So that it's cool. It protects the artist.
They'll wipe the whole audio track.
The whole audio. Yeah, so it protects the artist. Me being after the J. Cole thing, and then I had another beat that was kind of pretty much taken, and I was, that right there, I didn't post anything on SoundCloud after that because I was like, man, so now I'm hoarding all my shit, and I kind of put it on my YouTube stuff and everything. So it's and then I feel like a dumbass trying to, like, this J. Cole, I'm a dude that makes decent beats, but nobody knows me, so of course J. Cole is going to be the winner in the equation, and so. As a result of that, Seto Corsa, which I'm pretty sure you probably played or know of.
Oh yeah.
The track on there that's called the Japan track or whatever. That's my home track, Motor on SP, which we made for R Faction. Not R, it was R Factor. We made for R Factor, and they lifted it. And I contacted the guys. I'm like, look, I don't want no money. I just want to help make your track better. And I got the owner in my phone. I can call him right now. And they ignored me, man. They figure I want money or want rights and stuff like that. And I was like, well, it's whatever. So I didn't play Aceto for like the first 5 years. And I was like, man, whatever. I'm over it. And I fired it up. And I was like, this shit's actually dope. So,
I'm glad you brought it up because actually today, somebody hit me up today and was like, yo, I love your car. Do you have the livery design? Because I want to make your car in Aceto. Yeah. And I've been trying to get somebody to do that for a year.
That's dope, today, man. Hey, look, man, you got
hit me up. Like, yes. Hey, I've been wanting this.
It takes it takes a podium for somebody to want to make your car, man. So it's
just such a small thing.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, I made it.
Yeah, dude.
Somebody made my car in a video game.
Yeah, dude. That's I got a few guys like that made my old stuff, and it's pretty cool. And then. People like that, man, like when they go out of their way and do shit like that and they don't have to. And one guy sent me like, I could tell he spent time. It was my old R33 and it was like a spider web thing or whatever. And the dude like made it in Forza, which I'm a Gran Turismo guy, whatever it is. Forza's cool, but I like Gran Turismo. And the dude made it on Forza, sent me that thing, man. And I was like, dude, what's your address? I sent him a bunch of stickers and shit and everything. And he was like, I sent him some Drift to Gogo's magazines, and I was like, dude, like you don't know me, and you took time out of your day to make a replica of my car, and that was pretty cool, man. So good to go.
Yeah, I was just opening the door.
But yeah, man, stuff like that is pretty cool, man. But like on the music stuff, it just kind of, I'm like, man, I was mad for about 2 days. I looked on Publishers Clearinghouse, and I was like, man, dude, this shit goes deep, man. This shit goes lawyers, money, and I was like, I'm good at making beats. But my grind is building these engines, man. So I can't be mad about this. Like, you can't do everything, unfortunately. So I just kind of like, I make my own music. I work with some artists, but my gear over here, man, I haven't fired it up in like 2 months, and I don't really get into it because I can't. The mindset of making music, I think, is a special one to me. And if you just start,
you got to get in the flow,
right? And you just, I don't know how many times. I'm pretty sure you've done it before, where you just make some shit and you just power it off or close the app. It's like, this shit's
I mean,
great.
dude, yeah, like hundreds of projects, and like
Undone.
you may post. Like I probably have 300 or 400 projects saved, and I think I got on SoundCloud 5 songs published, and I haven't published anything in like 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
SoundCloud reminds me of LZ's fucking chat thing on YouTube, where it's just you can't even get a word, and it's just all these goddamn people, and it's like you refresh, there's 10 new songs, you refresh again, like so I post the track up, and by like 30 minutes it's already 30 down. It's just buried because everybody has access to it. Then you got to pay for the. I got the unlimited space, of course. So the SoundCloud, sorry about the podcast audio will be on there for the podcast too. But yeah, man. So music is cool to see you're into that, man. You mentioned the so you're working with a group. You mentioned the laptops and everything before we got started.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working with a group of guys, or it was just you? For
music or for cars?
For music stuff.
Oh, dude, I mean, I haven't touched it in years, but I just got motivated to do it again because I just moved to a new state, and like I moved somewhere new during COVID, and I was like, dude, so I don't have anybody to hang out with.
Where you at now? Where you at now?
I was in Denver, Colorado. I lived there for like 15 years.
Okay.
Now I'm in Oklahoma. And it's a lot. I'm in Oklahoma City, so I'm in like the biggest city out here, but it's still like,
Gotcha.
It's a small town compared to Denver. Yeah. And I moved away from all my family and friends to be out here for work. And then, I was just like, man, what am I going to do with all my time? Right. And as we started getting into YouTube this year, we started running into the issue of like getting copyright-free tunes. Yeah. And I got a few friends that still produce music, and, I was hitting them up, and like, I actually sent my one buddy, he was working on an EP, and he was like, I was like, dude, I need a track. Like, I need a track for this video. We got to drop it. We got nothing. And I sent pizza and beer to his house so that he would make me like a 2 or 3, just like really just like 16 bars that we can loop. But so I was like, I got time. Like I should just, start doing this. And, I talked to you earlier about RJ from Big Duck Club. Yeah. He's one of my most supportive sponsors. He makes the body kits for my car, but he's the head of international education for Native Instruments. So they make like the VSTs, all the instruments for Ableton and Logic and all that stuff. So he was going to get me set up with Complete so I can start making beats again. Yeah. And there's an old analogy about people making music, like digital music. And it was like, I was making tracks, but I was using loops, and I decided loops were cool. So I had to make my own drums, but recorded drums weren't cool. So I had to record my own drums.
Dude, there's so much. It's so much shit.
You just go all the way down the line to like, now I'm like, do I have time to make beats? Yeah. I really want to, but I don't know.
Yeah, dude. It's so with that, what you mentioned right there, it was one of the things too. Like, I'm in the middle where I my music stuff come from my uncle was a DJ, and in the '90s. So I mean, in the '90s, I was already coherent to music and everything. So naturally, being in Baltimore and all that stuff right there, music was it's by default it was hip hop. But then like if you look at my iPod or whatever, like. And I hate people when they classify your music based on your fucking skin color or what you are. Like, dude, I got tons of rock, I got tons of because I sample that shit because nobody samples it. And also because I sample it, I had to be careful now recently because I upload some videos of my music on it, and I'm getting copyright strikes because I'm like, fuck, I let a little bit too much of the sample play, and it picks out the sample. So now some of my music I can't use on YouTube at all. And when I make new music, I kind of make sure I don't have any. It's chopped. It's really, really chopped, so you don't recognize that and everything. So with that stuff, man, and people saying you can't use this and can't use that, I'm like, dude, just fucking make the music, and however you get to it, you get to it. Some of the best artists now, like there's a battle now. I like hardware because I like to touch it. I played trumpet in elementary and middle school. Did concert? You played trumpet too, or a different instrument?
I played trumpet, trombone, alto sax, tenor sax. I was in drumline too. I played bass drum and drumline.
Nice. Shit, man, we got shit in common, man.
Yeah, dude. I think I played like 7 instruments. at one point in time I could play 7 instruments, and
Yeah.
now I started. My dad was a drummer,
Okay.
so I learned drum when I was 10, and that's all I really do anymore. But
Yeah.
but since I could play all those instruments, that's why I started making like EDM music and just digital music, because I could do it all myself,
Right.
and play drums to it, but then like play like loop bass and synths
Right.
and stuff over it, and like make my own stuff. And really, at the end of the day, it was just for me.
Right. And
Just
then,
for fun.
and also I find I'm pretty sure you felt the same way, man. I think it's a difference. Like, I mean, me being able to read sheet music, and also like the drum before the band stuff, everybody, like we'd be in a cafeteria and just banging on tables and shit like that with the pins and stuff
Right.
like that. So I always I thought I would always do, yeah, exactly. I always thought I would do percussion. And then like I ended up being first trumpet, middle school or something like that. But I don't know why everybody would go over to the percussion and fuck with the drums. Like that was just where everybody was hanging out at. It was the cool stuff to do. And, to be able to do the triplets and all that stuff like that, man, to be able to do that stuff. So, being able to, I sample a lot of orchestra stuff and a lot of stuff. So, I mean, check out my thing, man. You'll be able to run through to see some of the stuff I make. But, being able to read music, I think that helped me in like the timing signatures. I can time my beat. I can get the beat. I play it naturally too. I don't do what's called programming of the MPC. I actually play it. So I lay everything out, my drums, my hi-hats, and I actually play this.
You just play it and then quantize later.
Right. So to get like what I want to actually make, I'll just jam for like 30 minutes, and it's like it's on my YouTube too. I got a bunch of
it feels more natural,
right,
when you don't quantize and you don't program.
Right. Yeah.
Because it feels real.
Right. Like a lot of dudes, like you got guys, JD. You got a lot of producers where people are scared to go off beat, and like they just want to be tight, and like when you hear a beat,
but then you go listen to like Fly Low, like Flying Lotus, and all this shit is based off like, and you're like,
yeah.
You can tell he's just mashing.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah,
that's a whole different style.
Yeah, man. That's some people like it, some people don't. So it's just cool. I got my style is it's kind of it's hip hoppy, but it's like more of it's kind of like mid to late 90s, early 2000. The whole trap stuff it's easy to make, but it's just not I don't feel it. I made a few beats, and that's just not. I don't feel like mine is a boom bap style, like a New York East Coast. That's my style of
but like stuff like that, it never dies. Like still there's a lot of cool dudes.
It's coming back.
Young
it's coming
dudes,
back, man.
Going back to like when you get older and you start looking up to kids that are younger than you.
Yeah.
Like back in the day it was like Biggie and all the dudes from New York, but now it's like Joey Badass. And I remember when Joey Badass came out, and I was like, damn, who is this kid? And I look him up, and he's like 20.
Yeah.
And I'm like going on like 27, 28. I'm like, damn, like these kids are so young.
Yeah,
but
dude.
They're like so fresh, but they still have that old style.
Yeah.
Just to see them still, pushing that is really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, so that's like, of course, you got in the hip hop stuff. You got the J. Cole guys. You got the Kendrick. The guy that had it was a show on Netflix, and he won. I forgot his name, man. But he's actually a little older, but like that. It's like now being the older style of hip hop is now it's making guys stand out more because everybody sound like Lil Wayne now. It's like, dude, you go on SoundCloud, it's like, dude, how many Lil Waynes are gonna hear today? It's like the same ad libs, the same call outs still. Like, dude, this is getting boring. And then you post up some good music, and guys would just skip right over it for the trap stuff, which is very, I mean, it all sounds the same to me, man. It all sounds the same to me. So it clearly, like 3 Days Grace is clearly different than Nickelback. It's clearly different.
Right.
It's clearly different than Metallica. And you can go on and go on. And they all got their signature sound. But now it's just like, dude, it's a bunch of fucking hi-hats and some dudes singing a little shit in a loop. And not hating on it. It is what it is, but it's just not my thing, man. Some of it shit's cool. But I sound like a trap hater right now. And it's not a trap hater, guys. Don't unsubscribe and all that shit because I said what I said. But it is what it is and that stuff, man. But that's dope as shit, man. We talking about drifting, man. And you're into music. You play band stuff, man. So that's yes. What about like I say? I mentioned the games and stuff. Do you do any gaming, computer stuff, or any stuff like that? Or
Yeah, I was actually gonna take the computer and walk you over to my sim rig. Actually, I'll do it.
Yeah, cool. That's cool, man. I don't mind
just
it.
walk to my house. But yeah, I just got on a Seto.
Yeah.
I
gotta add you up on there, man. I forgot my Steam name is.
I got on a cool group with some dudes on Instagram, and it's like we got a bunch of the FD guys from SoCal on there. But I just put this thing together. Let's see if I can get it in the frame.
Oh yeah, shit, man. You got the you got the 3 monitors and shit, man. You got the
I actually when I first got this, I got the Fanatec gear.
Yeah.
And I just had it clamped on a desk, and that was cool. It worked. And then I tried VR, and I know a lot of people love VR, but dude, it made me sick.
Yeah.
I remember the first time my friend was there, and I ripped the thing off, and she was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I was like, I was pale. She was like, "You look like
yep."
I was like pale and sweating.
Yeah, dude.
So I ended up just getting this. I got this rig and the 3 monitors, and yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time here.
Yeah, man.
But Assetto, man, like people always ask me about Assetto because I talk about it a lot, and I accredit it a lot to like muscle memory and just getting like honestly. Okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent for a little bit.
That's all good.
When we talk about nerves, getting on Assetto and playing online helped me a lot with that.
Yeah.
So not only muscle memory, like I learned left foot braking on Assetto.
Okay.
And if you watch me drive, like I use that a lot. Like basically one of my front tires is always locked up. And that was something I never did before. But when you go online and you're playing with other people, and if you're in the lead on a train, like that pressure feels the same as if it's in real life, because you're like real people behind me on real rigs, and they're going to be pissed. Like if we have to start over.
Yeah.
So like, dude, it has helped me exponentially. And I preach it to everybody. If you don't have a sim,
dude,
go get anything, even if it's just like a Thrustmaster or a Logitech G29, like do something.
Yeah.
Like get on Assetto.
Yeah, man.
It's sweet.
COVID, I know you've seen it, a lot of guys, because I had my first wheel was like maybe 2001, and I got downstairs. I got three setups. I got a PC setup with all this Assetto dirt and all that stuff in there, Dirt Rally. Then I got 2 PS4s linked up together, so I do like some little mini meets and stuff like that. And yeah, man, guys come over and they're shocked at how the steering wheel steers itself back. You gotta act. I'm like, dude, when guys come in and they're like pussy feeling, like, dude, drive it like you would drive on a track, and they instantly do better. Like instantly. They never. I'm like, dude, dude, how the fuck? I'm like, bro, it's the same shit. Only thing you don't have is I got a fan because my rig for one of the PlayStations has the virtual on it. And for me, man, if I don't I notice if I turn the fan on, I don't feel sick right away. But my first time with VR, dude, I was fucked up for 2 days. Like that
was the first thing someone told me was put a fan on you, and I was like, all right, and I put a fan on, and it just helped me not be so hot.
Yeah,
but
you still felt like
dude,
my thing was
I tried it for 5 minminutes at a time, and dude, no matter what I tried, I felt like I was gonna throw up. The first time, if you go backwards, God help you.
Yeah.
Because I went backwards and it felt like my soul was getting sucked out of me. Like,
yeah. How far was the mount, the motion sensor from your actual headset? Because that's where I got messed up the first time.
I guess it was like 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah.
Because someone told me, like, I remember reading a lot into it because that was one of the first things someone told me.
Yeah.
Was to actually, someone showed me, if you go get an Arlo camera mount, it has the same thread, so you can get the mounts and mount it on your wall, so it's a little bit further away, so it's not just like sitting ghetto on your desk. Yeah,
because that's where my very first time with VR, it was on Nürburgring, and that was the worst place to go for your first time with VR because it got the fucking up and downs and everything. Dude, I made it to I made it halfway on the track and took it off. I was like, dude, I can't finish. I was like, my fucking mouth was watering. I was sweating, and I really had. I got from Iraq stuff, man. I get migraines pretty bad, and my head was hurting, man. Like the next day for 2 days, I felt like my equilibrium was messed up. And the thing was, I didn't know my guy. He didn't know because it didn't affect him. But I was at his desk and literally I'm sitting right here, and the motion thing was right there. So it kept refreshing, and it just felt like it was off. So when I would turn, it was a little bit delayed. So I wrote it off, and then when I got mine downstairs, I put it 6 feet away, and I was fine. It actually didn't mess with me, man. So the VR stuff that shit's crazy, man. So if
it works for you, then awesome. Because I did notice when it was working, like you would even look over, like it's like if you're pulling up to a clipping point and you like do that and you look at your door, you look over your door out the window. I was doing that and I was hitting clipping points like perfect, like on it. But something about it. Even when you took it off, like it would feel like I was, like I was on a cruise ship or something.
Yeah. I guess that's that warning where it says, like, if you have seizures, don't play this game. Like, don't play GTA.
I never had one, but I felt like I almost was about to.
Yeah, dude, I know exactly what you're feeling like, because I took it off and I was like, dude, I felt like a bitch, because I'm like, I've done thousands of laps virtually on Nürburgring, and I do a lot of racing there. And I got around to the part where it start this long straightaway, and I was like, dude, I'm done, man. I couldn't. I was like, and also I was playing with I was playing with for the first time the PS4 motion sensor. So I was just going like this with the thing. I'm like, dude, get a steering wheel, man, and everything. So that's cool. I mean, again, you got the rigs, the PC stuff. It was cool to see COVID. My guy David Bellamo, man, that dude went from nothing to like he got fucking laptops, and he got like the whole stack. This dude got like it looked like about 8 screens, man. I'm like, dude, you just went crazy. So dudes are going crazy with it over the COVID, man, and getting the track time, and it's pretty cool, man. And like
it's worth it, dude. I think I got all together with the rig and even with the PC build, I think I got $5,000 into the whole thing. Yeah, so dude, that's like 2 weekends worth of tires, but I think 380 hours on a setup.
And it's there though. It's like you can go in there right after this and fire
anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. But if you really count the track time at a drift event, like at FD, we did the math. And at an FD event, I get 24 minutes on track.
Right.
24 minutes. I can get 24 hours on the Assetto in a week. Just with a few hours.
How's your like the biggest thing I think for most guys to turn them off is like the setup. I'm a PC guy way before cars. Actually, I built computers and electronics and stuff like that. But
me too.
What was your I mean, I know for you got a lot of guys got the I file. They got to drag stuff over and do all that stuff. Like how was your basic settings for your wheel and everything? Were you using like a pre-program?
That took me like I'd say like a good week.
It takes the longest, man.
On the Fanatec, I definitely just went on some forums and looked at what people were doing.
Yeah.
But I mean that took a minute. Just the first time I got Assetto, I could not drift.
Yeah.
And I was like, this game sucks.
Yeah, dude, because the wheel doesn't rotate back, and
it does. None of it worked, and then it was a week of getting the wheel dialed in, and then after that, then it was good, and then we started progressing, and then getting cars, getting the right cars, and then I really don't tune cars that much. Like the only thing I do on cars is like lock the diff, set my brake bias, and tire pressure.
Yeah,
I try not to screw with it too much because, dude, if you're messing with the wheel settings in the game and then on the hardware itself, and then
it's too much.
You're steering in the car. It's like, dude, there's just too much.
Yeah,
you're never gonna get actually to drive.
Yeah,
because you're just gonna tinker too long.
And that correlates right there to like real life, man. Some dudes in real life do that. They like one guy recently, man. He would like every lap, he would like, let me like, dude, just drive the car. If it's obviously something really, really, really fucked up, change it. But some guys, I think in real life, they try to change shit every.
They think
time,
it's always
dude.
The car.
Yeah, no, it's
never
not.
Them, always
it's
the
not.
Car.
It's not. I have.
Like,
go ahead.
My practice car, dude. I haven't been nut and bolted that thing all year. The last time, it must have been a year and a half since it's had an alignment. And like at Irwindale, after we hit the wall and my team put the car back together, the whole car, the frame rails had shifted like this. So we normally run like a 1/4 inch in toe in the rear. Right. And we were at, I think, 3/4 out toe rear.
Yeah.
And one of my team, one of my crew members was like, dude, you're not going to be able to drive this. You're not going to drive this.
Watch
and
me.
I got in the car, and threw down a lap. And it was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tinkering with the car is too much. Like, I will tell, my crew chief, Justin, I'll be like, hey, I'd love some more grip in the rear. I'd love a little bit more side bite, and let him just like do a little tinker, but we don't ever play that much.
Yeah.
It's more so just getting out there and trying to hit all the clipping zones and just get it.
That I think that's it right there, man. That alone, what you just said, man, is that why. I mean, I know you have potential to be on the first step of the podium and then beyond, man. Because a lot of people, man, that mentality right there is what a lot of guys need. And also, like the again, everybody's car Pro 1 was fucked up, man. And nobody car came out unscathed. Everybody car was twisted. Shit was off. I mean, you see Tarek's car and all those guys. Those cars is battle because they were like the events are so close together, and then like that. So everybody had the alignment. Like I told Lex, like I remember multiple times going to the event and I start like this. So
your wheels, yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
that you got more lock to this side and none to this side. Hopefully it's to the side that you really need to lock to, or if not, you gotta catch the wheel before it goes the other way. So we know that stuff, but a lot of guys out there, as soon as they have a wreck or whatever, they looking to quit. I'm like, dude, I tell my guys out there who I teach the drift, I'm like, dude, stay out there, just deal with it, because if you're going to compete, you're not going to have time to change that tire on it sometimes, or you're not going to have time to fix that wheel. It's going to vibrate a little bit. Just know you got to back out a little bit, stuff like that. So it's cool stuff that I know you're up to speed on it.
It's stuff that I'd love to be able to do a lot more of.
Yeah.
Because I look up to people like Denofa, worked with BC for a while, and he's for my chassis for the E36, he's like the setup king. And like Osbo, you hear him, you watch him with Papadakis, and they go out there, and he's like a little, we've chatted a lot about should I really be concerned about suspension dampening and toe setup, and should I be so concerned about that, or should I just say to my crew chief, like, hey, I just want a little bit more of this, and let him deal with it, and just me stick with just the driving. And going back to what you were talking about with it just being you versus a team, like to me it's a huge blessing to be able to just walk out there and just focus on me and getting myself centered and getting to driving, because I definitely get humbled every time I pull up to a grassroots event with me and my trailer and my toolbox, and I got one friend that I boss around.
It's like, fuck, man.
Hey,
yeah, dude, it's like you
and do all that, and it's tough.
Yeah, man. That's I did it. I don't have it. I think my first and only pro event, I did have one guy there with me, and one of my buddies came there to watch. And Japan is really like, everybody can walk in the pits kind of during the event, and this was the first event for the King of Asia. So one of my guys who just came there to actually watch, he ended up helping me out in the pit. So I went to the intermediate drivers meeting for like the top 16 or whatever battles, and they already had changed my tires, and it was, for me, I'm used to touching everything. So I was like, I'm like, hey, you checked the tires, you torque it down? He was like, yeah, man, everything's good. Got in the car and went, and that was the first time ever that I didn't put my wheels on, and it was like, it felt cool, and I was like, damn, that's how Lewis Hamilton feels, man. But not really. That's a whole different stratosphere, man.
Lewis Hamilton's guys trained for years to do that.
Yeah.
Man, Joey's got it.
Yeah, man. And actually, I'm joking now, but Nico, you probably heard about it about 4 years ago now. A spectator had died. One of the team magicians, which is one of the biggest teams in Japan, unfortunately, after that happened, their name kind of got thrown in the dirt. But the girlfriend was spotting for the boyfriend, and she got hit in the head with a whole wheel assembly. The tire, fucking brake, everything came off, hit her in the head, everything. She died 2 days later. The guy, they were friends, but as a result of his girlfriend dying, of course, that fucked the relationship up. And the guy didn't torque something down, and the whole thing came off, man. And it was like, man, that shit, it's busy, shit happens, but as a result of that, I mean, a wheel came up the car and hit her in the head. So it just kind of, Nico got shut down. After that, they had to put gates up like NASCAR, so they got the whole gates that overhang. You can't stand over certain places, and it actually shut drifting down for that whole year, that rest of that year here. So they had the tracks had to make the walls higher. They had to make points where you can't go. That media pits had to be made and everything. So it was that was the first fatality that I know of at a drift event. Well, sorry, she didn't die at the event, so there was no fatalities at the event, but she died.
Right.
2 days
Due
later.
to circumstances due to
due to the event. So they, and
That's
it was
crazy.
like one summer. Then now it's kind of back to normal. Where in Japan, dude, seriously, you rock up, you do your own tech inspection. If you spill oil, you will clean it up, but nobody checks your car, nobody checks your cage, nobody checks your seats. They just kind of, it's an honor system. You just show up, make sure your car is good to go. If you fuck up, if you crash into like a wall and break stuff, you got to pay for like the foam. But other than that, man, it's pretty relaxed. So again, man,
that's something that FD did a good job, and specifically Brian Eggert and Kevin Wells did going into these shootouts. That was a big thing that got us used to going into Pro 2.
Right.
Was that we actually went through a pretty scrutinizing FD style tech to get to that point. And my practice car even has an FD sticker on it.
Yeah.
From a shootout.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job with that. And in some aspects, pulling up to FD, it feels just like a grassroots event. Like the vibe is the same, but then you get there and you got Andy Luck yelling at you because you're like, well, now not wearing a mask, or like, hey, be over there, that's media only, and he yelled at me, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
because there was a cone, and no one told me about these cones. Like, I still feel like such the new guy, because like I said, 5 years ago, I didn't even know what drifting was.
That's crazy.
And we've progressed so fast that I went back when you first invited me onto the show. I went back and looked at your page, and I was like, oh shit, like this dude. This dude's an OG, and I feel, I feel bad, for not knowing a lot of people.
No,
dude. Lexus. When I first met Lexus, and I went and found out who he was, I was like, damn, this dude's cool.
But that's man, I don't take any offense to it, because that's one thing where I like. That's why for my YouTube, YouTube had started doing like some. I was with GT. All right, so I was with GT Network or GT Channel. And I was, I'm like, oh man, GT Channel hit me up. I didn't know at the time MCMs are not what you want to do. I will tell you guys, stay away from MCMs if you're looking to grow your channel, because they take all your money and they do nothing for you, man. So, it is.
What is MCM? Elaborate.
It's a multi MCN or MCM. So it's a multi-channel network. So it's like MCN. So like what GT Network does or GT Channel, again, it didn't work for me, guys. So it might work for you, but what they do is they take your videos, this guy videos, they get views off of all the videos collectively. So if they got 50 dudes making videos, they all get 5,000 views a piece. You could do the math; it equals up to over 1 million views. So what they're supposed to do in their job is promote your shit and put it out there. I shouldn't be emailing my guy and say, hey man, I got a new video up, put it out there. And after about 4 or 5 times doing that, I'm like, dude, this is wasting my time. And I was locked. I didn't know I was locked in a 2-year contract with these guys, man. So for 2 years. I couldn't get out of it. It was legally binding. It was lawyers and everything. And for 2 years, I didn't make videos. So I was like, you're not going to help me out. I'm just not going to make videos. So for 2 years, essentially, I stopped posting anything, and it came around. But but I had a lot of catalog from the old stuff, man. But yeah, man, guys, it is cool. Dude, yesterday, a guy from France was here in Japan, and he kept looking at me, and I'm like, and I came outside from the store. He's like, hey man, you Pinku style, right? I'm like, yeah. He was like, can I have a picture? I'm like, what? So like, I'm not used to that. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you want a picture? He's like, can I have a picture with you? I'm like, all right, cool, sure, man. So I go like this and everything. And he's like, he's fucking going crazy. I'm like, dude, what? For me, I don't see myself like, people watch me. And I only got 6,000 subscribers, so I don't feel like nobody sees the videos. And but then people,
to me, 6,000 is huge.
Yeah. But I gotta give a shout out to my guy Freddie English and the guys over at the it was a group of guys. We had Auto Lines, and they did a few videos with me, and it spiked up like from their viewers and being in Japan. So I hit up Super Street. I hit up all these guys in the States. I'm like, dude, I'm an American pro drifter in Japan running a performance shop. It's not coverable, and they're like, nah, man, it's not. You're not top secret level yet. I'm like, well, I do the same work as them. I haven't been in the game. So I look at you, like you said, 5 years ago, you're already fucking Pro 2, fucking, third step, man. And it's like in your rookie year, quote unquote. I hate that word, but it is what it is. And people like, most people want to say this, dude, I've never won an event. I got points. I never placed in anything. I never won any small events. I never won any middle events. I just kind of show up. Luck of the draw. I was military. I had whatever the reason was, man. But now that I got my shop, I got my support, I can actually go to the event 2 days prior. I can practice, so I can tell it's going to be better for me. But yeah, man, I never got a win in anything in drifting, man. And so I mean, I look up, I'm like, man, shit, I'm looking up to you, man. So that's how that's how I
That's
hey,
humbling, dude.
Yeah,
that's humbling.
My local driver, I'll definitely get up my rant. My local driver is Masanori Kohashi. He's 28. He just won D1 GP championship. I got here. He was 16. He's still the same height, and he was pro when he was 17 or 18 D1, and he had some stuff go down, whatever young stuff happened or whatever. So he couldn't compete for 2 seasons. But yeah, man, he won the BCU both rounds. He ran Otopolis, so he won 3 of the last 4 rounds, and he got his championship. Man, he's 28 years old. Like, so where do you go? Where do you go from here?
Right.
In my eyes, like, most people, D1 GP is the kind of the pinnacle, but I don't see it like that anymore, to be honest. I mean, honestly, FD USA, again, dude, you got Japanese guys that are coming over there now. They're looking at FD because D1 is getting, Robbie and Ishida don't really do D1, and a lot of guys don't do it. You kind of got to be close to it to see it, but D1 kind of refuses to get with the program. They just started doing live streaming this year. Just started. It's actually pretty good, but they were watching FD, and now FD, man, the live stream, man, was fucking awesome this year, dude. Like, it was good, man. So yeah, man. So the grass ain't always greener. So the guys looking to come over here and do all that stuff, man. Like, you guys are good where you're at. Not saying you can't come over here, but it's not yeah, man, it's not, maybe
to me it's not like looking at what's the highest mountain I can climb. It's like, what are the different landscapes I can experience.
Right.
And that's why we still go do, I try and hit as many grassroots events as possible. And we still even do, this year I did a couple pro-am events too.
Right.
Because those people, like, I was just there last year.
Right.
And there's still people there that are going to be better than me even, that are coming up. And it's just like, keep your ear to the ground and stay in tune with the scene and what's happening and who's up and coming. And, again, it's like, don't lose touch with where you came from.
Yeah, man.
Because there's a lot of pros that you look at and you're like, I feel like I'm so close to, like, being and chilling with you guys, but you still look down at me like I'm nobody.
Yeah.
And it's
That's man, that's a yeah, it's especially depending on how you are, man. Again, I mean, because we just met each other, man. So I'm very blunt, very direct, very prideful, very, very sure of myself. And some people look at it like, if it could come across, depending on when we meet and what the situation is like being cocky. But then if we talk like, on something else, you'd be like, oh man, he was the coolest guy ever. So I got a bunch of guys out there who like, I'm the coolest guy ever, or I'm a dick. And it
same. Like, but it really comes down to if I was having a good day, or if my car just broke.
Oh yeah,
and like that's what I was saying. My crew member was like, "Hey man, this kid tried to come up to you and you shut him off," and I was like, "Shit, I didn't even realize it because my car was broken." I just pulled up the pits. I'm looking at it, and if you would come and talk to me any other time during the day, I'd be like, "What's up, man? Like, oh, you want to know about the car? Here, I'd sit inside, like, pop the hood, like, let's talk about it." But it's like, and that's another thing too about trying to move up in the ranks is like you got to always be on.
Yeah, that's true, man.
You never know who's standing right beside you or who's right behind you and watching you. Yeah. So
you got in a nutshell, you got to be kind of like someone like Keanu Reeves, man. He just seemed like he's always chill in all situations, and he's fucking Hollywood. But you see the stories about how chill a dude is. He rides a subway. He does like martial arts, jujitsu. He does like all the stuff he does, and like he's just he's a chill dude. Like Lex told a story about him riding bikes or whatever. He's down there. He's just he knows who he is, and like I've even done that stuff, man, and I felt like a dick about it when people you're like, well, I don't know who you are, and they were like, well, I got this, and this, and like, and I'm like, dude, they'll see it if they're gonna see it. If not, whatever, they'll see it eventually. So I kind of like play not stupid or dumb, but I'll go to like places and people will recognize me I'm a black guy, a Mohawk drifter in Japan. I'm the only guy in Japan doing it. You know what I mean? So it stands out. So I go like I was at Mobara and my car didn't get done for WitchCon, so I had my S13. I didn't plan to drive this car at all, and they allowed it to go on the track because they knew I was a shop owner. This car is a 1UZ S13 and a diff and suspension. That's it. And the clutch was slipping. And I'm like, dude, the car, he said, hey, man, you want to go on the track? I was like, hey, fuck it. So I went on the track, and it sounded cool, but the fucking clutch wouldn't grip. But I had all these people around the car, and guys were getting mad at me because the car was no stickers, no nothing on it. And they were like crowded around the car, and they, they felt like because their car looked cool and they were actually in the event and went to top 16 that people should be around. I'm like, dude, your car's cool, but then you're sitting in the corner on your phone and shit. And when people look at you, to look at the ground, it's like you don't have your personality is kind of like boring. You know what I mean? So,
right.
You know what I mean? It is. And I speak a little bit of Japanese too, so it is what it is now, man. But hey, man, like, so what do you got coming up? Like, any events coming up for you guys, or any, like, what's the plan? Because I don't want to hold you too long, man. My wife's down there bugging me right now. But what's the plan for, like, I would say the next few months, man? Because like you mentioned a couple minutes ago, it's like next year is 3 weeks from now, dude.
Right.
It's like
so we're heading out to next week. We're going to New Orleans for EYB into Year Bash down there. Few groups put that on, but that's the last thing that we're doing for the year. And to be honest, I'm actually kind of stoked to take three or 4 months off.
Yeah.
Just because this whole year, like, we've been pushing, dude, like, me
back to back, like, man.
We've been, dude, crazy. Like, and just me moving away from my team, living in a different state. Like, I've just been traveling so much, so I'm kind of stoked to just be planted for a couple months and relax. But after EYB, like, we're really trying to figure out what we're doing next year. And this is like I said, chicken and the egg scenario where we got a whole bunch of things to put together, and we don't even know, it's like we got to wait to hear about one thing before we can decide on the next. And it's like,
so,
where do we go from here?
So layered. And again, I definitely feel somewhat what you're going through, because I like you again, man. Level you're at right now. Again, I keep bringing it up, man. I hate bringing it up because that was my first pro event was my last fucking event, my last competition. Because again, right after that event kind of like I got I got on my page like 5,000 people in one day because it was live streaming, and it like, so I'm like, I started getting all these people messaging me and everything, and like off of one event, I'm like, fuck, dude. And also like my business, that pro license legitimized my shop. So right after I got my pro license, under King of Asia, I used that to open a shop, and that was like a launching point. So like a week after that, Drifter Goku came by, did a magazine coverage on it and stuff like that, and then people start coming. But my thing is, like, I don't, I've been open 5 years. I've made $0 from drifters, man. Zero, like $0. This like, it's because we do our own work. And like, if you're a drifter and you go into shops, like, you're just not gonna last long, man, unless you just got tons of cash. It's just I don't know too many drifters who don't have a hands on their own shit or build. You look at JTP, you look at Odie, all those guys, they all build their own shit for the most part, as far as I know.
Yeah, and there's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat, and it's like that's what I tell people. They're like, so what do you do? Like, how did you do this? And I'm like, man, it really depends on you, your career, your personal finances, and all that stuff.
Right.
Like, are you going to take it and like Odie, for example, he owns a business based around selling drift parts. Right. So he's around drift cars 24/7. Yep. I'm not. Like, I have an out of industry career. So for me, I have a 9 to 5, and then I have a 5 to midnight. Yep. And every single night and all day, like FD, man, I had to make a business for myself. Josh Loves Motorsports Incorporated, and I got a bank account, and I got, IRS shit to deal with. It's like, it's a whole thing. And just going and doing that, man, it's a whole different experience. But when people come and ask me, like, how should I go about doing this? It's like, you got it.
It's everybody's different.
Figure your way. Yeah. Find your way.
And you guys that are listening, watch, man. You can't be afraid to fuck up, because it is going to happen, man. Mistakes happen. I've been like, case in point, man, because I like my post on Instagram about my business seems like I'm a perfect dude or whatever. I just kind of point out where other people fuck up stuff so I can get more customers. I mean, that's competition. So, I mean, I don't, when guys are using like nut screws to wire shit up, like, nah, dude, you crimp that together and heat shield it and everything. So I show stuff like that not to down on the people, but guys like, well, I'm American in Japan running a performance shop, so I can count. I've had 6 Japanese customers in 5 years. That's it. So my guys are mostly American guys from base and international stuff, shipping cars and shipping stuff out. So I do that. So Japanese guys, man, I feel like I gotta win D1 GP, and then they're like, all right, cool, man, you could change my brakes now. Like that's what I feel like and I got all this shit I'm building in my garage, cool stuff, and they look at it, but they don't relate to it because they just want like general maintenance and stuff like that. And they feel like, well, I'm doing these engine swaps and all this stuff that it's too above me. I'm like, nah, dude, it's performance. I work on it, and I do it that way, man. But it comes down to what you got to do for you. I took 5 years off of competing, and that's been rough. Watching the events and everything, and wanting to get out there and drift. And now I feel like I got those fucking pro license, but like I'm about to go backwards to the pro-am level because you can't. Competition is that's people don't realize, and I told one guy this, your practice for leveling up in competition is competition. You can't simulate that shit. You can't some guys just think they're gonna do a bunch of track days, and I'm like, dude, it's a different. I try to explain to my one guy, I'm like, dude, it's a different environment, man. Those same guys, yourself and those same 3 guys driving in a grassroots event is different. But when you rocking up to a FD event and all this shit, it's a different mental state. And if you approach that event like it's a grassroots event, it's probably not gonna work out well for you, man. You know what I'm saying? So you get what I'm saying, right? With the
I do, but I don't,
right?
Because kind of the thing that keeps my nerves calm
is
that's actually treating it like it is,
right?
And like and like I said, everybody's different, but for me, rolling up to it, when my first Pro 2 event, I had like my nerves were through the roof, man. Like I was shaking, like literally my lip was quivering pulling up to the line. And now when I pull up, I'm just like, it's just another run. And that's kind of where you have to be. But at the same time, it's being a little scared or being a little anxious helps.
Right. Well,
because when I was saying earlier about getting my, when you get your breathing down and your blood pressure, like, you actually want it to be, you want your blood pumping a little bit more than just sitting still. Right.
Now I want to correct that's definitely what I had in my mind. That's why I actually did you understand. But what I was getting at more is like, even though like your mental capacity, but your mental readiness is like the same, like you treat it like the thing, like a grassroots event. What I was meaning is like, I know you guys took inventory on your tires, you took inventory on your tools.
Oh yeah, that's
stuff. Stuff like that. That's what I was trying to get at.
Oh man.
So like that's kind of like at a regular event. Like seriously, I can, like when we get done here, I got about 3 cars outside. I can put on my trailer. I throw like a tire gauge in there. The tires are already on the car, and I just go. I don't do any inventory. But like, if I was going to compete, I'm checking on my hoses, my caps, my hose clamps, my 10 millimeter sockets because I'm gonna lose 2 of them. And all types of shit, man. So it's like, that's what I mean. Like, I know you guys did all that shit, and that's where a lot of guys they don't realize.
We did and we didn't.
Okay. What's up with that?
Yeah. we kind of, I mean, we did as much as we could as far as having spares, but after getting to the point where we like built this car and blew all this money on getting there,
right?
I found out I was way underprepared.
Yeah.
Way underprepared, and it was actually just the drifting community saved me, especially at Irwindale when I got parts from everybody, and actually RJ picked me up, and drove me around all day Saturday. And we went and met like 11 different people, like all these shops, like everybody actually ended up lending a hand.
That's dope, man.
Like that's a whole nother thing when you get into it is whatever you think your budget's going to be, just
double it, man.
Double it. Because every round, man, it's like something that comes up that, normally between my grassroots stuff, I'm like, oh, I just got to tighten some nuts and bolts. But it's like, no.
Yeah.
We had a whole new axles at the car, but what are axles on the pro level? They're $3,000, for some axles, and you're like, man.
And that's where the I was mentioning like before about the social media stuff. That's where like if you like you got that large following, which you're building up to. If you got that large following, like I see guys like it's worked for me too, where I'm like I got about 5,000 people in this group, and I'll put like, hey man, anybody got a left side axle? And then like 10 people like, yeah man, I got it. And that's where like I see it working differently, man. Like, you know, again, the whole LZ shit, man. People get to see and I support his you know, whatever he's doing to get there. But it's like a guy like him, he has so many people follow him. Like, that's I could use that example. Or did you follow you ever heard of a show called Roadkill?
Yeah.
So Roadkill, I used to, before they went behind a paywall, I used to watch them a bunch, and they'd be somewhere in Canada, and they're like, hey, I need this part for this Chevy, whatever the fuck, and 30 people would be like, yeah, I got it. And it's cool with social media. It helps like that. If guys break down too, I've seen it where a guy breaks down going to an event, and the guy's like, hey, man, I'm traveling to Texas. Trailer wheels blew out, and then dudes are fucking – it's cool to see that, man. People are still good, man. And I know people are good, but you don't – all you see online is all the dumb shit about the, you know, the race stuff and all the Antifa stuff and all the drama, man. But people
there's so much goodness like going on in the drift community, man. Like I got a couple key like quick stories.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Oklahoma, my trailer actually got broken into.
Oh shit.
And I never had anything stolen really before, and I posted up about it the next day. I seen it. It got shared. You saw that?
I seen it.
Yeah. So someone actually found my wheels on Facebook Marketplace. Someone bought them at the flea market, and we ended up getting them back.
No shit.
And then same thing with Irwindale. You know, when all my stuff broke, like one dude took me around and introduced me to all of his friends, and like we got everything we needed, and we put the car back together.
Yeah, man.
And that's like, you know, I said it once, but already in this podcast, but that's what keeps me in drifting, is the camaraderie and just like the small tight community. Like,
yeah, man.
It's super real. It's one of the last real, I think, like realist motorsports left out there.
I think it's technology. Again, I just always harp on this, man, because it's cool. I mean, you're where you currently where you at right now? You're in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you're Oklahoma. I'm in Masao, Japan. We're in different time zones. We're talking voice over IP.
Right.
Like seamlessly, man. And it's like shit like this. 10 years ago, you had to have like some big computers and stuff like that. Well, not 10 years ago, obviously 20 years ago. You know, teleconference was like some stuff that CEOs did in big companies and Sprint or whatever. But the technology now, man, it's like now, like, again, eventually I'll meet up with you or all these guys somewhere else. And it's like you kind of, because you already talked online, you already know each other. It's like you just kind of pick up like you've known each other for 10 years when you never met.
Exactly.
I'm like the same way I'm talking right now and my energy, I'm the same way. Some guys, I've met some people online that they were like different energy online. When you meet them in person, they can't look you in the eyes. They barely talk. Mm-hmm. And like, hey, man, what's up? Well, it was just an act.
I see that with vloggers.
Yeah,
with vloggers.
Yeah, dude. Me and Alexis.
I met a couple people that are famous as hell on YouTube, and you meet them in person, and like they just stare at their phone, they look down at their feet the whole time, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I thought you were popping, you know? And,
yeah.
Like you had this popping personality.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I went up and like, hey, what's up? And then you just,
hey, what's up, man? Yeah.
But I mean, like. That's like how I met like Rome Charpentier. Was I just talked to him on Instagram, and then we started playing Assetto, and me and him got on Assetto, and we played for like 3 hours one night, and we were setting up mock comps, and like we were running qualifier laps and then running comps with each other, and then I met him at FD, and it was just like bam, just like homies.
Yeah. Speaking on that, did you see the EDC this year? It was like Electronic Drift Series.
Mm-hmm. I missed. I signed up for tryouts.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I missed the time zone or the date or something, but I ended up not making it. But I tried to do EDC.
I sponsored it. The last 3 events, and it was cool. I mean, it was kind of like a tail end, but I had my logo was on a banner streaming and everything and stuff like that. Pretty good, pretty squared away guys. Like, dude. I watched it. I'm like, dude, these guys are impressive, man. Like the organization, and then also they were like, dude, there was so many drivers, and then like to see the levels of like the qualifying. Then when you got like the top guys, I'm like, holy shit, these guys are fucking good, man. Like no joke, like really good.
I got a friend of mine who he used to have like a stock E36, but he is like my number one practice buddy on Assetto.
Yeah.
Leading up to FD rounds, he'll practice with me for hours the week of. And I let him drive my car a few weeks ago at a grassroots event.
Yeah.
And he went out there and he flung that shit harder than I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's crazy. It's just crazy how much it transfers over.
But it's the transfer over, and then also like the people. It's cool that, I mean, COVID happened, man. I look at everything and like try to see the positives in it. The cool thing is it brought people together, like far as like the community, because it launched the whole people who, like, I guess Ryan Literal was talking crap about rigs. Now he got one, and all these guys are talking crap about rigs. They got rigs now.
Ryan Literal's in our group.
Yeah. Now Lex, I'm gonna get him one. And Lex was saying before COVID, he was like, I don't want to play it. He was saying something like the fact that he didn't play game rigs or whatever. Now all these guys are like against it, on it, and like myself, Lex, and a few other guys were doing it for years. So now it's just like, yeah, I mean, we told you, man, this shit's fun. Because my first, again, relatable story to yours. My first pro event. Fuck you talking about this damn thing. I got to get out there and do some more events. So I can start talking about this event. So that Nico event, that was my first. I've been in. I pitted for Andy Gray, and I went there a few times, but I never drove a Nico. And Nico, I'm pretty sure you've seen the track. Nico is weird because people don't realize Nico, when you enter, is actually a flat curve, and then it goes into a corner. So you're drifting on a straight road to connect two corners. So it's like you go into it. There's a little curve. It's a little curve, but it goes straight. So I never drove Nico before. So I fired up R Factor like a week before, and just drove in there a bunch. So my first time competing, I made top 16 and Nico by using R Factor. And guys thought I was joking. I'm like, nah, dude, the timing is there, the scaling is there. If you go off the end of the track, it has the same effect where you wash out, and you could do the whole three-wheeling shit and everything. So I stayed away from that because I didn't feel too comfortable doing it in the event. I did it once and everything, but I never felt one wheel in the air. So it's weird because you lose all control on that left side, the left front, and you feel fully loaded.
You just have to realize what it's good for.
Yeah.
And like when we went into Sonoma last year for our Pro-Am, I went out and Sonoma was a pretty tricky track, and we went out and linked it on our first go.
Yeah.
Without doing a sight lap. And like obviously there are things that's different, you know, when you get the G forces and everything else that come into play, it is different. But as long as you realize like this car on a setup is not going to be the same as my car in real life,
right,
but use it just for certain points, like it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's helped me a lot. Like I probably did 100 laps on St. Louis before going into that track.
Yeah,
and that worked out. So
yeah, I got, man. I'll get your Steam name and everything.
Please do.
I gotta get before I get on here. I won't join you for a while though, because I set it up, and I just got the wheels set up again on it, and it took about maybe about 15 laps. I changed some I&I settings and got some preload settings off the forums are ridiculous, dude. Like the stuff these guys are doing, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm coding because you go in there and change ones to zeros, and you change the real feel and everything, and it's like it changes the game like immediately. So the guys out there who plan as rigs, it don't suck. It's just your settings unfortunately suck. And get a buddy over there or copy your stuff over if you can do that, and it'll, trust me, your wheel will start counter string by itself. It'll start doing all that stuff. The spraying thing of Logitech, you gotta disable some stuff on a profiler and then go into the game setting and let that take over for the guys who follow. And that's your biggest problem out there. Is you know all the stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, but and we have on Facebook, we have a Assetto Corsa drift community.
Okay.
Go on there because I learned. I mean, right away, my shit didn't even work right out of the box, and I had to go on the groups and ask people for help. So
for any groups and stuff like that, after we get done, I'll just when you get done, just shoot me all the groups you're in and your Steam stuff. I'll load all that stuff on the description, so guys can add you up on there. I'll add you as well and follow you on that stuff, man. But yeah, man, I feel like we'll definitely talk again, man. I got
absolutely.
I got a truck outside. I got picking up some Skylines for export, so I gotta go sign some documents and everything. But again too, man, like. If you see something on the auctions that you want to buy something like that, man, just let me know. I guess myself and actually my exporter is Buy Now Japan. That's my guy. So you seen him out there with the S15.
I've seen him. Yeah.
So he's Rahman Rizal is my guy. So everybody, of course, they go through me, go through him. So it's me, Rahman, and the port. So there's no other BS. Again, man, I run my business very straight up. I don't bullshit people. If I can't do it, if I don't want to do it, I just say I don't want to do it. If I don't do anything illegal. So a car can go from my shop to your shop in like 2 months. An engine, I can get it from here to your doorstep in 4.5 days, 5 days, and that's during Corona. So international stuff again, man. If you need me over here, just let me know. Again, we kind of got it's cool that this shit. We get to know each other online in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, man. So, but again, man, any closing statements, topics, or anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Man, not really.
It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. It's a lot.
We talked about a lot.
Yeah, we did, man.
A lot of off-canter stuff too. Not even about drifting.
Yeah, that's what I put in the thing, man. Like because I mean, if you look at a lot of my podcasts, I mean, I got music guys, I got personal trainers. I kind of all stuff that I do. I kind of talk to all those people, kind of like Joe Rogan, same shit. But it's more car stuff and everything. But yeah, man, it's we all drifters. We all do the same thing, but we ain't doing it 24 hours a day. As much as we want to do it, you got to kind of schedule. If you come over here, man, you got to come. I'm over it, Drift Matsuri, but if I go with a group of guys, I'll be into it. So if you're going to come to Japan, it's better to check out Drift Matsuri, man. Like, that's 2 days of straight drifting. It's just 2 days of straight drifting. Like, 1 a.m. you drifting, 2 a.m. you drifting. It's 2 straight days. And you got to experience that, man. It's pretty crazy. At least once in your lifetime. And it's pretty dope, man. So I know LZ's been over a few times and done it. And the seat time is ridiculous, man. I'm talking about 2 straight days of just straight drifting. A lot of tires, a lot of gas, man. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as everything lifts up, like we've been talking about it for the last 2 years, so I'll definitely be hitting you up. And I definitely hope we'll be getting some laps in on Aseto.
Yeah, man.
So I feel like we still got a lot more to talk about.
This podcast for sure, man. That's
for hours more, but.
Yeah, you never talk about everything, but again, it's that's the cool thing about it, man. It's not rehearsed, it's not scheduled and rehearsed. And I don't like. I got only thing I wrote on here. I got my little sticky thing. I wrote music and hometown because I wanted to ask you about that. So Denver is your hometown, or
I lived there for most of my life.
Okay,
I wasn't born there, but that's where I was based out of for 15 years, and that's where my team is, and that's where my Pro 2 car actually lives.
Okay.
So
So for me, man, like offline, I'll probably, I know you guys got a lot of stuff going on, and you're the first Pro 2 guy I've actually talked to. I haven't talked to Hurst and Brewski yet. They getting a schedule together, but it's like my thing is I'm looking if not this season, doing like one round, probably like 2022 for sure. But that's my biggest thing is like my help will be coming out of British Moto in Georgia. So it's like, Georgia, that's not really, everything generally is happening in the middle or west coast, it seems, as far as events.
It's really all over the place.
Really?
And like, we're actually kind of, Colorado and Oklahoma, we're both kind of central to the U.S., like right in the middle. But we've been everywhere. We've been to the Northeast, Southeast, Pacific Northwest, SoCal. We've been all over the place this year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get the logistics down on where, like, the car, because I got buddies all over, but it's like, where should I station the car at? I'm thinking it'd be best to have it at British Moto because he's a shop, and then he can take care of the maintenance for me while I'm over here. And also, if I think, just thinking about right now as I'm talking to you, I'll probably look to get over there for just like some regular events, man, just to get the vibe. Because when I left America, I was just starting to drift. Get like really drift, and I didn't have the skills that I have now, so I couldn't do banks. I was honestly scared to do certain shit at like Summit Point, Virginia. That was just like it was intimidating to go from parking lots to a track where you can roll off and do this and do that. So, and then JR's there with his first Mustang killing shit back then. So it was man. So I'm definitely looking to get over there this summer, this spring. And at least get eyes on to Philly event or actually participate in like some pro-am event maybe, or just a grassroots event. So just to feel it, because I know it's going to be
we have a lot of plans to travel next year. I don't know if you're talking about 21 or 22.
Yeah, but, 20. We'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know.
We have a lot of plans to travel next year. Regardless of what happens with FD, but just to go do a lot of grassroots events because like you were saying. Meeting people on the internet, you can have people all over, the country.
That's awesome, dude.
But really, just showing up to local events, like that's how we meet a lot of people.
Right.
It's just we just go show up, hang out, and then it's like, cool, I got a whole pocket of friends over here in the state that I've never even met before.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can show up and everybody's family and
yeah. I think that's gonna be the plan to because again, man, it's cool this podcast because I work by myself, so I don't get to talk to people, man. So this not only getting to talk and meet with you, man, but also for me it's therapeutic. Again, I mentioned Iraq a few times. I spent 3 years in Iraq, combat ops and everything, almost shot people, all types of stuff, man. And so I kind of I'm in my mind a lot, so I don't get to speak to people. But just speaking to you about it, kind of, I don't think I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm not bitching out or I'm not scared, but I don't think this year I'm gonna go towards trying to do Pro 2. I think this year I should come over and just see it, put eyes on, put a feeling on the tracks, some pro-am stuff, and then maybe 22 start getting everything together because that's the fly from here to Japan to there, get all your things set up, and then have bad results because you're just not prepared. I don't want to be there. I want to rock up, and if I lose, it's on me, not on the car, not on the program, not on all that stuff like that. So that's what I think I'll probably do. If I make more money, then I could probably do it. But right now with the Corona, I lost a lot of money this year. Still open, so I'm not bitching, not crying about it. But everybody lost money and time this year, man. So I'll see. Either way, I'll be in contact with you and anybody else that I meet and see what you guys are up to. I'll follow you on Facebook and Instagram. And if shit lines up, I'll try to get over there.
Yeah, if you're here and we're doing something, you're always more than welcome to tag along. So
that's dope, man. That's
even though you hate coming to watch, I guess I'll have to let you something.
I gotta get at least a figure 8 something in there, man. With the
we'll get you in.
Yeah,
especially if it's my practice car, man. Like that's what it's there for. Like I just let any homies, like I said, my homie that does a Seto, he didn't even have a car. I let him jump in, So that's what it's there for.
I'm going to send the car over. I'm going to build it here and then send it over. And then so we were looking at Alan found an S14 that already had an FD cage in it, but it was from like FD 2000 whatever. So you know how the regulations change like every 2 minutes. Right. So that cage probably got to be cut out and everything. So I told him to don't worry about that one because it was legal 3 years ago, which means it's not legal now. So I'm gonna build a car with no cage and then send it over and have him get the latest cage. That way I got something kind of there, and he got cars there too. So we'll see, man. It's actually cheaper for me to build it here and send it over versus
crazy.
It is.
I guess probably only in what you do.
Yeah, because I got everything. Yeah, because I got the networks. Of course I save a little bit of cash.
You got your logistics set up.
Yeah, and I do my own shipping. So I take my car from here to the port. I like driving, dude. I like being on the road. Where I'm at in Masawi, when you come here and see it, it's like the boondocks, man. It's like farms and shit, and everything is not Tokyo. So trust me, man. Tokyo is Tokyo, and the rest of Japan from top to bottom is a farm, top to bottom. So when you go to Tokyo, actually, if you look down the alley, you'll see farm fields. Like you don't see that stuff because nobody take pictures of that. So Japan is all about it's all about agricultural farming and everything, man, with cities sprinkled in. So it is my place is a lot of space. It's safe. I should lock shit up more than I lock it up, but it's pretty good, man. But hey, man, like I said, I don't want to start because we've been like just driving for the last like 30 minutes almost.
I know.
Yeah, the podcast.
I just looked at the clock and I was like, damn, we've been on this for a while.
Yeah, shit. Every time Lex get on a podcast, I'm like, dude, we're gonna do an hour and 40 minutes.
I know. I saw his. It was like 2.5 hours, and I saw yours, and I was like, it'll be 30 minutes to an hour, but it could go longer.
Yeah. No, I mean,
think we crossed the 2 hour mark.
Yeah, man, you're cool, man. Like I said, I kind of if I could tell if a guy got to go or whatever, or just not really into it, but generally doesn't happen. But hey, man, again, thanks for your time. Again, man,
thank you,
major congratulations on this season, man, and
appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing you next season out there, and I actually know some to actually know someone that's actually out there is, of course you're gonna pull up a little bit more and everything, man. So now I'm gonna talk to Hurst next and Brewski. So like I'm gonna get to know all you guys. So it's like fuck, man, I don't know who to cheer for because I like all these guys. Right. But no, man, everybody out there is cool. Everybody's cool. Everybody's doing the same thing and everything, man. But again, thanks for coming on. We'll link up. I'll get offline. I'll talk to you a little bit. But every guys out there who's just watching, again, remember the Bridgemoto shoes here. You remember the shirts? Got the shirts in. The shirts are $28 plus shipping, which is like $5 or whatever. These shirts cost a lot of money, so I can't unfortunately make them cheaper. If I could, I would, but I gotta make some money back. And then of course the UV banners, which are $40 shipped and everything, UV cut and everything. So guys, that are again, make sure you like, subscribe, share. Only way to grow this channel further is to push it out there. Again, like we just spoke about, me and Love here. Not everybody knows you, man. Don't feel bad about it, but not everybody knows you in your circle. So the more people we get eyes on, my hopes is that guys from my circle will get to know you and everything, and vice versa. Exactly. Guys from your circle. So it's everybody don't know everybody, so don't go out there like everybody knows who the hell you are, because like we just mentioned LZ. For as popular as LZ is here, if you drop him off in Cambodia, nobody knows who he is in Cambodia. I don't think so. Maybe it's one guy in Cambodia that watches LZ shit. It's possible, but more than likely the guy in Cambodia doesn't know where Adam LZ is, man. So stay grounded, stay safe. Be true to yourself out there. And if you guys got any questions for me, podcast@pinkustyle.com. I'll answer them truthfully. If I know it, I'll answer. If I don't know it, Google that shit or go to YouTube, and you'll find out for somebody else who I think knows it. Again, guys are there. Yeah, man. See you on the next podcast. It's gonna be Donnie signing off from Misawa, Japan, and we got it's gonna be Joshua Love signing off from Oklahoma. And we'll see you guys later. So again, thank you for participating. See you guys later. Down and out.
Thanks for having me on, man. Talk to you later.
All right, one second. Oh, you got the love thing there. One second.